Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their court.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican for you, verbal slaughter.
That's literally not true.
I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Is that correct?
Oh, for Trump's sake.
Good morning, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. As I fix everything, I am the Recovery Addict. Welcome. New look today. New look. As you can see, we've got lights in the studio. But they're blue and I can't see them, which is great. Amber sent me some blue blockers. These things, hopefully to lessen the headaches at the end of the afternoon. So give it a try. I already feel smarter. My wife wears them. She looks like a librarian, and it's hot. I can tell you that. All right. Welcome. Good to have you here. That's probably TMI, but you don't have to tell her that. Welcome. All right. Well, we're getting started this morning. A couple things. Yesterday, I don't know. We're getting wrapped up. I'm wrapping up at the end of the stuff I'm doing at the end of the day, off air here at the studio, and getting things done. And my phone rings. I look at it, and I recognize the name. It's a local here in town, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Good. What's up with you?" He's like, "Well, you know how you were live streaming the town meetings?" I said, "Yeah." He said, Are you still interested in doing that?" And by this is the town calling me and asking me to live stream their meeting for them for free because they have no money. He's like, "Cause I'm out of town. Normally I do it. I'm out of town, and the person that fills in for me is also out of town. And so if you could do it, that'd be great." I'm like, so it's like 5:10. Right, so we're talking, right? It's after 5 o'clock, and I'm like, "So what time's the meeting?" He's like, "Starts at 6:30. I'm like, "Oh, good. Let me just tell you what I have to do. I have to now suddenly pack up everything I need for a live stream, get ready for this gig. But I can't go yet because I now have to drive my son, who was going to take my car in like 5 minutes and go to a thing. I've got to take him and drop him off where he needs to go and then drive back. So that's 25 minutes chopped out of there. And then I have to load up my car with everything that I need and drive down to where the gig is and then set up everything all before you start." And so I'm like, "Sure, why not? Let's do this." And so I'm like, I've got to slim this down. No wireless mics, or at least no. I can't bring my big audio equipment. That just takes too long to set up. I'm like, one pan-tilt zoom camera on a tripod, direct feed into a laptop through a Magewell, HDMI to USB converter, and I'm like, I'll use just a shotgun mic attached to the tripod and call it good. And I grab a couple, safety, because you always want spares. So I grabbed a couple safety things. I grabbed my DJI Mic Mini wireless mics, just as a backup. And we run down there, and like people are already showing up when we walk in to start setting up. I'm setting up and throwing things together. My daughter's there. She's helping me. She's really good at this. She helps me, and I'm trying to get them to log in to their Facebook page. Okay, and so they're on my computer because I have to use my computer to do it. They're on my computer trying to remember the password. It's like, it says it's an old password. Let me try this one. I'm like, I need to be doing troubleshooting, getting the audio testing, getting the feed up and everything. And it's like 5 minutes to, and they're like, I've tried to text it a reminder to me so I can change the password. Would not work. And they're like, and it's like 2 minutes to. So what do you suggest? I said, look, I'm going to stream it to my page. I'll link you to it. You can, point people to my page, but I'm just going to plug it all in. I have no audio. It's not working. Okay. And so at the last minute, I'm like, okay, run there. Switch the shotgun mic to the DJI receiver, which I've already got magnet stuck to the podium. And so I get it. I'm like, okay, we're good. And like, they start immediately. So I'm live. Do the whole thing. And of course I get complaints during the, we can't hear very well. Can you make it louder? So no, I can't, because they're not talking into their mics. I cannot hear them either. If I can't hear them, you can't hear them. That's the way it goes. Anyway, it was a mess. Usually I like about a week's notice for a gig like that, just so I can get everything lined up and make it perfect. But we did it. And then of course they voted to go into closed session, and I had to tear everything down in about 3 minutes and haul it out so they could continue working without us there. So that was fun. So, yay. Just heads up. Had they hired somebody to come in with a production company, this is just my gripe session for a Tuesday. Had they hired somebody to come in and do that, they charge about, in the $750 to $1,250 range for what I did last night. Pan, tilt, zoom, controller, mics, everything. Yeah. So I'm trying to get them to buy their own equipment, but Festivus is coming. I'm going to add this to the list. All right, I'm done complaining. I've got that off my chest. I feel better already. I really do. Thanks for letting me gripe out a little bit. Let's raise that a tiny bit. All right. Yes, these are blue blocker glasses, courtesy of Amber, and I feel smarter. They don't have $750. We couldn't even run our own garbage truck because it was too expensive.
Gosh. Now I'm trying to
although they did approve the purchase of a 60-inch stand-up mower, like a standing mower. I guess it's zero turn, but you don't get a seat. I don't know. And the one other mower. So, look in mod chat, and I'm about to send birthdays, says Josh. I've got some stuff to do as well. Hang on one second. Okay. Is this one done? Is this one live already? Can we back up? Is that today? I thought it started tomorrow. Good grief. Okay. I was going to watch Judge Middleton's morning. He did it like a 10-minute little soliloquy, and it was awesome this morning. I was going to show you that, but instead we're going to go Warren County Common Pleas Court. Where are we at? And we're in 3, right? There's the buffer. Birthdays are coming in. Amy P. and Joy W. We're going to sing to Amy P. and Joy W. here in just a second. Let's see. Warren County Common Pleas. That one. Let me see if we can hear this.
Carmeris, you are employed electronics tech. What sort of work do you do?
Retired now.
Oh, retired.
Jury selection. Awesome. We'll be there in just a minute. Let's sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to Amy P. and Joy W. So everybody, join with me. Everyone stand up, take a breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room, blend your voice with your neighbor. Warm up with me, if you will. La 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 la. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Amy P. and Joy W. Happy birthday to you. Amy P. and Joy W. Happy birthday. I realize there are a million places you could be, a million people you could have celebrated with, but you chose to be here with us. The privilege, pleasure, the honor, the joy is ours. Hopefully, we can make your day just a little better, a little specialer. Begin by helping yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's house, Bob Evans, Andy's Grill, and Cracker Barrel. There you go. Happy birthday, Amy P. and Joy W. That is awesome. Rebecca, thank you very much. I have to, we'll get back to Greeners in just a second. Greener's saying, hey, chat, internet, fix it. Internet, because Greener's won the internet, but he's on jury duty. I'm not sure if this is allowed in the courts. Greeners, congratulations. You're first on the stream today in chat. Samantha was first. Samantha Terry was first when we started up the live stream. But 2 first is okay. Greeners, we're punishing you with the internet ownership. Everything IP related worldwide is your responsibility. At least until we go live again this afternoon. Oh, they just went private. Why'd they go private? Oh man, we can't watch. They muted us. All right, drum solo coming up. Let's finish off the drums, the birthday song in style. Beautiful. Y'all did well. Good job, everybody. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Greeners, I'm waiting at jury. I hope you get picked, Greeners. Not that we would miss you terribly, honestly, because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to be in chat. Or you shouldn't be in chat while you're on a jury. I'm just saying that's probably in the no category. But we'll miss you. But it would be awesome if we. I'm sorry, Ivan. It would be awesome if we heard about you in jury duty and what it was like for you. Ivan says, since I've had so much great news lately, I thought I'd share that my CPA emailed me with an update on the audit. It was exactly 7 words long. Have your attorney contact me ASAP. Thanks, Ivan. I am so sorry. Wow. Now go look at the delivery photo. Which delivery photo? So we have a delivery photo. I'm looking. Yes. Kiki's house. Amber had my glasses delivered straight to my house because she's one of the few people who I allow to stalk me. And the Amazon took a picture of the delivery with it being thrown on the ground there on the deck. And in the picture is what's called a caster board or a ripstick, which is like the 2-wheeled skateboard. The chair, a camping chair, which is Kiki's chair. Kiki's cat scratcher. Kiki's house, another chair. Kiki's food bowl, which is pushed under the chair for some reason. And on the red chair, the Kiki's chair, is a box. It's a box. It's a package that's just been delivered to our house for a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And it belongs to our previous tenant. I still have not opened it or figured out what to do with it. All right. Ivan, I hope it goes well. Get a good lawyer. Get a good lawyer. Do we have a trial today? We may. It's in jury selection. They were showing jury selection just briefly, but maybe I think they meant to not show jury selection, and now they've gone private. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Let me do it down here. Let's see, Warren County Common Pleas, Court 3. Okay, so maybe it's coming back. Hold on. No, it's not there. Go to channel, live stream on.
What is chiropractor?
I'm retired.
Oh, retired as a chiropractor.
This is the
It's like
end of
really retired?
Really retired.
Doing more than you ever did? No?
No.
Okay. Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
I have a sidebar. Like, I don't know if it's a conflict of interest at all. Or
Okay.
Okay.
All right, come on up. We seem to be wearing out the carpet today.
Okay, they're going to sidebars. That's what it is. That's why we're turning this off. So we have jury selection in this case that we were watching yesterday. which we're sort of rooting for the defendant. He might be a bad dude. We might find out later that he's a bad dude. But we've got jury selection, so we're going to watch that. Trial starts tomorrow. So we're going to sort of watch this for a minute. Sidebars. What happens when the jury member says, I've got a sidebar? They can request a sidebar. If there's something embarrassing, it's like, is there a reason why you can't serve? And it's like, well, actually, I have this issue with my bowels. That's something you probably don't want to just shout out in open court, right? Some people are comfortable with it, but it's like, I don't need the world knowing that, right? So you'd say to the judge, hey, can we just come sidebar? And it's just be like you, me, and the attorneys. And so give me ideas. Greeners, do you want to serve, Greeners? Are you really excited? Because I can help you out. Not from personal experience. I have never actually even been summoned to court to serve on a jury. If I have, I skipped the letter and never knew about it. But I want chaos. Okay, so yes, you want to serve is what I'm hearing, and probably be jury foreman, and maybe push for jury nullification. Okay, good stuff.
Ms. Barber, any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us in this case?
No.
All right.
All right, Mr. Nick, you are
For the little guy in the
automation
corner with glasses
assembler.
one. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
go on.
Yates.
Never heard of that one. Where's that at?
Yes, Motor Man Robotics. We build robotics for several different industries throughout the world.
Is that here local?
Yes, in Miamisburg.
Okay.
Sounds cool.
You indicated that you've been a juror before in Montgomery County. What kind of case was that?
It was a drug case, and they reached a verdict or a plea bargain.
Oh, okay.
Before we were actually.
So you never actually deliberated and reached a verdict?
Correct. I never have.
All right. Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
No.
All right. Ms. Gellenberg?
Pretty close. Gellenborg.
Gellenborg?
Yep.
All right. You're a secretary for the Bachman Group?
Yep.
How big is the Bachman Group?
2.
2?
I need my
Okay.
90-year-old boss.
Okay, so the Bachman couple
By
maybe?
group,
Yeah,
you-
group. I
the
guess
group,
group
you
sounds
mean.
better. You indicated you had also served as a juror before here in Warren County?
Yes.
What kind of case?
Domestic
You say domestic violence?
violence, yes.
Did you actually deliberate and reach a verdict?
Yes.
Anything about that experience that you think left a bad taste in your mouth? Anything that makes you think you can't be part of that process
Yeah,
again?
jury pay sucks.
Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
No.
All right, Mr. Nunez, you are a procurement manager? What does a procurement manager
We
do?
buy things.
Manager,
Sorry?
sourcing manager.
Okay.
Procurement is sourcing.
You indicated that you were a juror before in Louisville, Kentucky?
That's correct.
What kind of case was that?
Was a DUI 16 years ago. DUI 16 years ago.
Okay. Did you actually deliberate and reach a verdict?
Yes.
And anything about that experience that you think is going to affect this case?
No.
You indicated that you had been convicted of a crime other than a minor traffic offense. What was that?
Well, that was the DUI. That's probably,
okay.
Probably answering correctly.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So
I was in a court.
the
It was a
DUI case
DUI.
was you.
It was
Yes.
my DUI
Okay.
case. I had a
And
jury.
Do you
Okay.
think justice was served in that case?
Justice was.
Do you think justice was served in your case?
Yes. Yes.
Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
That was funny.
All right. How we doing following language?
Very
Okay?
good.
All right. All right, Mr. Neild,
Yes.
you are an engineer with CSAFE. What kind of engineering work do you do?
We make shipping solutions for pharmaceuticals.
Mechanical.
All right. Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
No.
All right. Ms. Huntington,
Yes, sir.
account manager for Granger.
Yes.
What does that entail on a
I know.
day-to-day basis?
The admin. I'm an account rep for accounts that Granger have in my territory, which runs all up and down 71.
Okay.
And Granger's a large MRO company, maintenance, repair, and operation, so we do a lot of work with
I have their
admins.
catalog.
Okay. Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
No, sir.
All right. And Ms. Tarter, administrative assistant for P&G.
I was. I retired.
Okay. What did that involve when you were doing it?
Well, I worked for a variety of people. I've worked in manufacturing, Crest Oral Care, Tide. Before that, I've worked at GE. I worked for lawyers there. I've worked for human resources, worked for IT. I probably worked for so many different things I can't remember them all.
All right. You indicated that you, family member, close friend, have been the victim of a crime. Tell me about that.
I wasn't a victim. My brother has been convicted of a crime.
Okay. What kind of crime was that? What crime was that?
A robbery.
All right. Anything about that case that you think is going to influence your jury service?
No.
You also indicated that you, close family member, had been involved in a lawsuit, some kind of libel action?
Yes, that was, my neighbor was, actually he didn't even live there. He was operating a business in our rural area, and when he threatened me because I looked at his advertisement, which showed he was business, and went to the township, and so he decided to try to sue me, but he dropped it because he didn't have a case. And then he moved. Well, he didn't move because he didn't live there, but he sold the place. So, anyway.
That is the best solution for bad neighbors, is somebody moves away.
Yes.
All right. Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
No.
All right. Does anybody think, oh, yes, Ms. Sanford.
Yeah, sorry. When other people were speaking, I realized I have a couple more things to report.
Okay.
So my house was broken into once.
Okay.
My car was broken into, purse stolen, and then my husband got like a reckless ops when he was younger, driving.
Okay.
Reckless driving. My husband's a bad driver.
Okay. The attorneys might have some more, or Mr. Riefers might have some more questions based on that.
Yep.
But, ladies and gentlemen, that's sort of how this works. If there's something that you think of, there's like, people need to know this. Better thing is to share. All right. Anybody think that they would not be a good juror in this case? Just started asking this a couple of months ago. Kind of interested to see how it goes. Nobody has said yes so far. Ooh.
I was just going to ask a question. Could you just repeat, is it possible to, you kind of went really super fast what this case was about. Could you just maybe say it again, or is it possible, or is that?
Well, it's essentially what it is improper handling of a firearm. Let me get back to my note here so that I can get it right. Improper handling of a firearm in a motor vehicle, having a weapon while intoxicated, obstructing official business, resisting arrest, operating a vehicle while impaired. All right.
Okay.
I did think I was going to get my first, I don't think I can be a good juror. I haven't gotten one yet. I'm still waiting. All right. That's all the questions that I have for you. I'm now going to turn the questioning over to Ms. Hyatt and to Mr. Riefers. They're each going to have 20 minutes to ask you questions. And based upon those questions, they might challenge you for what's called cause. That means that they think that there's a reason that you can't be fair and impartial. I might ask you some more questions. I might excuse you. Tough to know. Then, though, each side has the opportunity to exercise what we call a peremptory challenge. They get up to 4 peremptory challenges. They can excuse you for any reason or no reason at all. I'll tell you, my sister-in-law was excused from a jury on a peremptory challenge about 4 or 5 years ago. And to this day, she wants to know why it is that she was excused from that. I don't know why the attorneys exercise the peremptory challenges the way they do. My advice to you is not overthink it and just enjoy the rest of your day. I will tell you, though, it's considered bad form to cheer on your way out if you are excused on a peremptory challenge. All right, Ms. Hyatt, you may proceed.
Thank you.
Okay, now prosecution gets to ask questions of the jury pool as well.
Good morning. As we talked about, my name is Teresa Hyatt. I'm one of approximately 20-some assistant prosecutors here in Warren County, and David Fornshell is the prosecutor. We all work for him. Does anyone, I know we kind of talked about it, there was a couple of people I think that knew law enforcement or a prosecutor. Did any of you know somebody who's like a family or good friend who's law enforcement or a prosecutor that we haven't already talked about? Okay, I'll go through them individually just in case, because I thought I saw a couple. The big thing is with voir dire, and I just want to kind of hit this a little bit, it's a really important part of our jury process because it's the only time we get to talk with each other. I get to ask you questions. You have to answer them best you can, and then you can ask me questions as well, and as long as they're relevant and all that, we can answer those questions. But after the jury selection, I'm only going to talk to you. You can't answer or ask a question back or say, hey, why did you not ask this part of it, or thank God you finally asked this, or anything of that nature. So it's really the one time that we have a chance to talk with each other. So I know you're in front of a bunch of people you don't know, and it's probably, I do know that can be very intimidating, but I just want you to feel as comfortable as possible to just tell us how you really feel, because there is no wrong question, there's no wrong answer to any of this. None of you are criminal attorneys. I don't think any of you are expected to know what criminal law is. So if you have a question, let us know. If you have an honest belief, again, there's no wrong beliefs here. It's just we would rather hear about it here and not later on when you go back and start to deliberate and then have a big issue come up that we may have to deal with down the road. So again, please feel free just to answer or ask a question as you want to. And we can start right away with Mr. McIntosh.
My dad was a retired police officer.
He was?
He said my
and
dad was a
actually, you were one of the ones
officer.
I was going to ask that. So your dad was retired from where?
Union Township.
Union Township.
Here in Warren County?
Eastgate.
Eastgate, okay. How long was he a police officer?
25 years.
25 years? Okay, sorry. It's real easy to lose your voices up on the ceiling for some reason. So anything about, would he have shared like any good stories with you about what he's gone through or anything of that nature? Or did he pretty much keep that separate from his family?
He did a little bit of everything. He did detective work, he did patrol work, he pretty much did it all. He did a little bit of coroner work.
Oh, well, okay, so he kind of hit all of it.
A little bit of everything.
Nice.
Wow. But he passed away in 22. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What is it?
Anything about the fact that your father was in law enforcement that you think will automatically tip the scales for you one way or another? Because you're going to hear from several law enforcement officers in this case.
No.
Okay. And just for the record, law enforcement officers, they're human beings just like the rest of us. Okay. And the big thing will be, too, is you're going to be determining credibility when people testify. So it's going to be just looking at their demeanor on the stand, their ability to remember facts, their honesty about, yes, I do remember that, or no, I don't remember this part of it. Any kind of bias or interest that they may have that you think might sway them to be saying something one way versus maybe the more truthful way. But that's really what you're going to be doing with every witness, even if it's law enforcement or lay witnesses or anything of that nature. Do you feel comfortable with that kind of situation? Okay. Thank you. And while I'm asking too, I just noticed too, is it Camiras?
Camiras.
You were related or family?
Yes, my father retired as a U.S. Postal Service inspection service.
Oh, okay.
And my son-in-law is Dayton policeman.
This is live. Really? This is live, Robin.
Who's your son-in-law?
Excuse me?
Who's your son-in-law? I used to be a Montgomery County prosecutor. I just was curious. Who is it?
Clint Anderson.
Clint Anderson. Why does that? How long has he been there for a while? Or he probably hasn't been there very long.
No, he's medically retired now.
Oh, he is medically retired. Okay. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I haven't been in Montgomery County since 2008, so that might be predating your son-in-law. Anything about your family's connections to law enforcement, same question, that you think would impact you in any way here? Okay.
The defendant is pro se. He's the guy drinking there in the back corner. Should be taking notes here.
So the big thing will be, is with the voir dire process too, is I'm going to ask as many general questions as I can since I don't have that much time to talk with each of you individually. So the big thing will be is if I can get nods, so that way I know I have not bored you to death. I'm just going to make sure that you're still with me and you can still answer. So if you don't nod, then I'm going to have to pick on you. So I just want to kind of give you that one up front.
Start nodding. Don't nod off,
The other thing
though.
is too, As Mr. Riefers sits here today, if we all took a poll right now and said, is he guilty or not guilty, does everyone understand we would have to find him not guilty as he's sitting here right now because no evidence has been presented to you to weigh. Does everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good nods. It's 100% the burden is on me. He has no burden at all. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to present any evidence. He doesn't have to ask any questions. You would still have to determine whether or not the evidence I present to you, when the judge gives you the law, you plug it into the elements that we're going to be talking about in opening. Just so you know, I'll show you like what the main elements are that I have to prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt, because I think it's helpful when you know up front what we're looking for. Like in every case, has to be Warren County, had to have happened in Warren County. If it didn't happen in Warren County, we'd be in another county. We wouldn't be in this courtroom.
He's a retired
so
cop,
that's just one of the little things I have to show is venue. And so when you hear that it happened in Warren County, you can, like sometimes you can check it off in your head. Okay, that's been addressed at least. So we will be talking about an opening more. But in this particular case, it's still going to be my burden to prove this case to you beyond a reasonable doubt on each of the charges. So, and we'll talk about a little bit, and Judge will tell you, it's about beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not beyond all possible doubt, because the only way I could fairly prove this to you beyond all possible doubt is if we had video cameras from every possible angle, or you witnessed it yourself. And in case of, obviously, if you witnessed it yourself, you wouldn't be sitting there, you'd be up here testifying. So it's going to be one of those situations where we just don't have a video camera from every angle. You are going to see some cruiser cameras and video from that. You will have that information. You're also going to have like a doorbell camera on one situation. So there are some video, but again, it's going to be, one view. So it's not exactly every single possible view. So that's why we're only required to prove it to you beyond a reasonable doubt, not beyond all possible doubt. Is anyone going to hold me to, it has to be proven to you 100% beyond all possible doubt before you could find somebody guilty? And again, if that's how you feel, that's fine. But we need to know that now rather than later. Does anyone feel like, hey, I need 100% guarantee before I can sign a verdict form? No. Nobody? All right. And Ms. Huntington, you just did not. Okay, thank you. No, you're fine. A little bit about this case. You're going to hear that this Mr. Riefers is a former Texas law enforcement officer. The fact that he was prior law enforcement with this kind of a case, does that impact you again in any way? Would you hold him to a different standard than you would to an ordinary citizen? Okay. And with respect to the charges themselves, improper handling of a firearm in a motor vehicle, it becomes improper if you are under the influence of alcohol or a drug or something. In this case, we're going to present evidence to you that we believe he was under the influence of alcohol.
Is this an opening statement?
It doesn't have to be stumbling, falling down drunk, but you cannot possess a weapon, a loaded firearm, if you've been drinking. That's just the big no-no. And you can't transport it in your motor vehicle if you've been drinking and you have a loaded firearm as well.
We're closing.
And again, it doesn't have to be the same impairment that you would oftentimes for an OVI. It's just you are not allowed to be under the influence, where you are being, the alcohol has influenced you to where you should not be having a gun.
You should object here.
If you, what you'll see too, under this improper handling of a firearm or motor vehicle, there's going to be two, what they call forfeiture specifications. If you believe the defendant should not have had a gun when he was drinking, we're also asking that the two guns that he had that were loaded be forfeited. And we'll talk about that more in opening. And using a weapon while intoxicated, that's similar to having an improper handling of a motor vehicle, of a firearm in a motor vehicle. It just doesn't have the motor vehicle part. And I guess it gets weird sometimes when you commit a crime. Sometimes you can commit one crime and have several different charges result from that, such as if I broke into your house and I had a weapon with me and I demanded money and I hit you over the head in order to get that money, I can be charged with aggravated burglary. I can be charged with aggravated robbery of the money. I can be charged with felonious assault because I used a deadly weapon and I hurt you. So there's more, one action of breaking into your house can lead to different charges. Does everyone kind of understand that? So in this particular case, it's really involving a traffic stop. You're going to hear some background as to how that traffic stop happened. But that one traffic stop involved improper handling of a firearm in a motor vehicle for the drinking, loaded guns, using weapons while intoxicated. Then it kind of went sideways, and we are alleging he obstructed official business, which means he disrupted Sergeant Simpson here in the performance of his duty during that traffic stop, which led to a risk of physical harm to Sergeant Simpson. So he was resisting arrest, he was combative, is what our allegations are, and that's where obstructing official business, resisting arrest comes
Typically,
in.
the questions you ask a jury at this point aren't even supposed to be
under the influence.
identical
to
the case at hand.
So that one kind of stop,
obscure.
we have 5 different charges from that. So that's kind of how this is going to go. We're going to talk about that more in opening, more detail about it. But does anyone have any questions, basically, just from that situation at all? Anything that you feel like
questions?
You shouldn't be charged if you do one. If you have one traffic stop, we should pick one crime, and we can't pick any other crimes if it applies. No, okay. All right.
Wow. You guys ready to vote? So we're asking you to vote guilty.
Does anyone believe that a police officer can commit a crime? A former police officer? Does anyone feel like if you've been in law enforcement, you can't ever make bad decisions? Is that a no? Just need some nods. Okay. Has anyone had interaction either in a bad way or a negative traffic stop with a police officer, or know somebody who has? No problems. I mean, I know we all don't like if we got a speeding ticket or something, but nothing that you never tried to attack the police officer, or the police officer didn't try to attack you or anything. Okay. It's Warren County, so this is, you'd be surprised in Montgomery County, sometimes it gets a little bit more crazy. But has anyone just been arrested for a traffic offense?
This is more of the questions she should be asking.
Okay. Has anyone been tased or seen someone tased before?
Oh.
Okay.
Good times.
There's going to be taser involvement in this particular case. Anybody have a feeling about tasers? Do you feel like tasers, there should never be a situation where a taser is used?
That's sort of how it is. That's the feeling. Pretty much everyone has the same feeling.
I mean, as long as, if you watch the video and if you feel like it was warranted, that's something that you could live with. Is that correct? Okay. What if somebody has been drinking? Do they get a pass for what they do when they have been drinking? If they make bad choices, does that give you an automatic pass?
Intoxication's an excuse.
And that is true. Under the law, voluntary intoxication is never defense.
Voluntary.
Is it anyone believe that if you've been drinking but maybe you're not falling down drunk, it's still okay to drive your car? Again, I don't care what the answer is. It's just I need to know now. No, that's okay. Okay. Anything about if you've been drinking, do you have to stop listening to police officers if they're asking you or telling you to do something?
Do you have to stop?
You feel like, nope, I get a pass because I've been drinking. Okay. All right, in this particular case, you're going to hear, just so you know, we have 3 what we call lay witnesses, 3 people who are non-law enforcement. It started off with Ashley Burns, who was a woman who the
what is
defendant
she
met
doing?
Online, and you're going to hear more about how that kind of developed. There's also going to be
Aside
Lindsay
from
and her
asking if you
husband,
know
Robin
anybody.
Davis. It was their house that, this all kind of went bad, and then the defendant left that house. They live in Deerfield Township, which is
Do you know
why
anybody named
the
this?
sheriff's office
That's the
was
question.
involved in this particular
These are
case.
witnesses.
Other
Do
than
you know
that, you're
them?
going to hear not only from Sergeant Simpson, you're going to hear from Deputy Levi McClellan, Deputy Reed Eastham, Deputy, I just lost my mind there for a second.
The other ones
I'm missing
that
one.
he subpoenaed.
Deputy Nick Peters.
Yeah.
Any of those people. There's also, you may be hearing from a Sergeant Nick Kido. possibly a Deputy Charles Hale. There was a couple of corrections
Carter,
officers that may or may not be
deposition.
testifying, Jordan Roberts or Lance Zinnicki. Any of those names ring a bell with anybody? Okay. And it's not a big deal if you if you're like me, I'm bad with names, obviously. But but I'm better with faces. So if they come in and you're like, oh, that's who that is, it's not a big deal. You just need to let us know that you recognize them and how you know them. And it's
Gigi
probably
Sharebear,
going to be
happy
something that, as long
birthday.
as you're not best friends, which,
Sorry.
assuming you know your best friend's name, you're good. So it's just not a big deal. We talked a little about the credibility. Does anyone feel like they're going to not be able to judge the credibility of a witness? And the judge, like I said, the judge is going to give you those tests for truthfulness, which is, their ability to testify and what their demeanor on the stand. But it's kind of like what we do every day when we have people tell us something. You kind of, okay, does that sound right? Could they have really seen that or heard that based on how they are telling it happened? You just kind of critically listen to it and make sure it makes sense. Does everyone feel like you're able to do that? Okay, great. The other thing is, too, the judge may or may not, I'm assuming he's going to let you write notes if you want to during testimony. And I don't know if you ever watched Law and Order. That always seems to be a big one. But on Law and Order, the jury would sit there and you'd have somebody up on the stand and suddenly the witness would say something. Everyone would furiously write down, oh, that was such a great point. So we're writing it all down. The only caution I want to say to that is sometimes the very next words out of that witness's mouth can be even more important. So if you're busy writing something down, just if you feel comfortable, you'll need to be able to rely on each other. If somebody else said, well, right after that person said that, they said this, and you're like, well, I didn't hear that, but I might have been writing it down. You're going to have to kind of rely on each other for what the testimony was if you're doing notes. So anybody have any questions about that or anything of that nature? Or anybody feel like if I can't write it down, then I'm Ms. Kilgore. I can write every word down as I go, which I can never do that. But nobody feels like they're going to be a court reporter for me? Okay. No. That works. The only other question I want to talk about a little bit is, has the judge told you Mr. Riefers is here representing himself? Now, he is not an attorney, but he's held to the same standards that I'm going to be held to, the same evidence, rules of evidence that I'm held to. Does anyone feel like, because he's representing himself, he should get a break in his ability to present this case to you in any way? Okay. Anyone feel like if somebody has the gumption to represent themselves, which again, he is 100% entitled to represent himself if he wants to, are we going to automatically feel, oh, well, let's give it to him because he's really trying? Anybody will feel that? Still the same beyond a reasonable doubt standard? Okay. And just really quickly.
No, you give it to him.
Ms. Stanford, just a real quick yes or no. Any of the history, like with your brother, with the OVIs, do you think that's going to impact you in any case here? Okay.
Yes.
And
it will. Okay.
Was he justifiably convicted, do you feel? Okay. Thank you. Okay, whoops, sorry.
The judge won't interject himself. He's told Mr. Riefer, you don't know these things, you're at a disadvantage. This is one of the things he's at a disadvantage over. Mr. Riefer probably doesn't know what questions to ask either.
We still have to talk about.
He might try to make an argument, and then this...
About 1 minute remaining, Ms. Hyatt.
Thank you.
This prosecutor will object. This prosecutor will object to something that Mr. Riefer says.
Mr. Nunez, just the same question for you a little bit. With your, just the one conviction, do you feel like you will automatically feel more empathy towards the defendant since that's what he's also partially charged with? That's one of his charges. Okay. You can remain fair and impartial? Thank you.
She's going to strike him anyway.
And
he does have somebody consulting with him.
And Ms. Tarter, your husband, is he retired?
My husband is retired, yes.
What kind of job did he have, just out of curiosity?
He was a tool maker.
Oh, a tool maker. Okay, great.
That's a cool job.
Does the state pass for cause?
Your Honor, at this time, the state does pass for cause. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Riefers, you may inquire.
Mr. Riefers, good luck. He's going to try to make his argument here. And the judge is going to shut him down because she's going to object.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
It's kind of a unique case. I've never represented myself. As I had said before, obviously I grew up in Ohio. I was a firefighter and a city cop here in Ohio. And then at the age of 23, moved to Texas, became a Texas state trooper. Did that for 9-10 years, about 12 years total in law enforcement, public service. I know they've asked all the questions as far as, well, whatever an officer says, you're going to always believe, right? Does anybody believe that, or does everybody agree you're going to listen to the facts of the case? Okay. So then, as she went through the case, I just kind of want to lay the groundwork for you. On this case, all of this happened within 1 minute and 28 seconds. The entire traffic stop video that I was provided was 9 minutes long. Does anybody have any kind of issue with law enforcement just grabbing you within 6 seconds of getting out of your vehicle?
She's going to object.
Like, does that instantly mean that you're guilty of any crime? Okay. So this entire case, it was just went on a date didn't go well, feelings were hurt. She called 911. The deputy pulled me over. Being retired law enforcement, first thing I'd asked is, had my hands up, said I got my secondary weapon, gave him my credentials, my license.
This is terrible. It's an opening
statement. Asked him what I was stopped for. He just asked why my friends called. Well, I had just moved back from Ohio, or from Texas back to Ohio, because I was also in a wreck. Ended up T-boning a semi on a bridge. Put me out of work for about 3-4 years. Had got dental work done, had dentures and all that stuff. Busted up the back. So what I'm really after is just simply the truth. I've waited for 10 months to be here and do this entire thing for you guys. The entire situation was, he asked why my friends called. I had no clue about any call. I just simply asked what I was stopped for. He asked me to get out. Within 6 seconds, exiting the car, he goes to grab my hand. I simply, what are you stopping me for? What are you doing? 3 more seconds, he grabs the radio, says he got 1 resisting. So he's placed me under arrest at that moment. At 2 minutes and 52 seconds into the traffic stop, he places me under arrest for obstruction.
I'm just going to object at this time as far as all of the narrative.
Yeah, let's go ahead and ask questions, Mr. Riefers.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm still trying to learn how to do the proper form here. There was a couple people in here that had like prior law enforcement, family law enforcement, stuff like that. That doesn't affect your guys' ability to know right from wrong, correct? Okay. All we're seeking here is just simply the truth. I've waited for 10 months for all of this to come out so you guys can see everything for yourselves. Once you have the case and the facts, does anybody have a problem with determining either guilt or innocence beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Okay. Meaning the state has the burden to prove that I was intoxicated or I had obstructed. You understand that? Okay. So if initially you're placed under arrest for obstruction, then when you're taken to the jail, the next thing was I repeatedly requested a chemical test to prove my innocence. The state blatantly denied it.
Yeah, and I'm going to again object to.
Make sure that we follow it up with a question, Mr. Riefers.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to remind you the things that we're talking
fair?
about right now, they're not evidence. They are things that are designed to generate a discussion. So Mr. Riefers may tell you, Ms. Hyatt may tell you something that maybe you're going to hear. That part doesn't matter because this isn't the evidence part of it. What really matters is there's going to be a question at the end. There should be a question at the end. Then we're going to generate a discussion about that. That's what we're interested in for this part this morning. So go ahead, Mr. Riefers.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get the question in.
I'll word it into a question.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, it's pretty simple. We'll just follow the evidence. You see what you have in front of you. I just asked that if you guys were in that kind of situation and you're saying, hey, if you're saying I'm drunk, at least give me a test. Wouldn't you agree that The state has the duty to collect all evidence and give you the option to have a test.
Good job.
Whether doing field sobriety, chemical test, blood test, urine test. Just like, wouldn't you want all the evidence if this was your case and you were standing here? Wouldn't you want all the truth out there?
That was good.
I think that's pretty much all
That's
I
all he
got, Your
needed.
Honor.
That's all he needed.
All right, Mr. Riefers, do you pass for cause?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so, Mr. Henry, our Jersey-bound boy, I think I am going to go ahead and excuse you. Right, do I have that right? You're Mr. Henry, and you're headed to New Jersey on Thursday?
That's correct.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and excuse you at this time.
Good luck, Mr.
I don't want
Henry.
you worried about your scheduling conflict. More importantly, I don't want to worry about your scheduling conflict. So I'm going to go ahead and excuse you at this time. Thank you for your service.
More importantly, I don't want to worry about it.
Hello, Ms. Burns.
I'm not sure who Miss Burns is.
Were you listening as we did our voir dire this morning?
I was.
Any of the questions that caught your attention or that you would have raised your hand to?
Scheduling conflict.
Okay, tell me about it.
I'm employed as a volleyball coach for Lebanon City Schools. I'm the head 8th grade volleyball coach. We practice daily from 2 to 4 p.m. We practice today.
I'm missing volleyball
we have
practice.
11 matches left in our season. We're right in the middle of our season. If it's an away match, I have to report at 2 p.m. to supervise the athletes. And I get to ride the school bus with them. I'm the only coach and adult that rides the bus. Bus leaves anywhere from 2:30 to 3:45 p.m. for those away contests. If it's a home match, I report at 3:45. We have home matches starting at 4:30. I supervise athletes, set up the gym. And
All right, so tell me what, over the next 3 days, what are the requirements of you over the next 3 days?
So I have, today I have practice 2 to 4. Tomorrow we have a home match that begins, I have to be there at 3:45 to set up the gym and supervise athletes. I'm the only coach, there is no assistant coach for my team. Thursday I have another home match. Those are 2 of the remaining 11 matches.
Any objection to excusing Ms. Burns?
Yeah. It's good.
We don't want volleyball to suffer.
You better win.
All right.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burns.
Rebecca? She's like, good luck, I'm out of here.
Griever? Graver?
Griever.
Griever? Okay.
Rebecca, what you got?
Ms. Griever, were you listening as we did our voir dire?
Yes, sir.
Any of the questions that caught your attention or that you would have raised your hand to?
No, sir.
You indicated that you are vet assistant?
Yes.
What kind of work does that involve?
I hold pets for procedures that my veterinarians perform.
She holds the pets for
You
procedures
indicated
that
that
vets
you
perform.
had been involved in some kind of lawsuit, maybe a close family member or friend?
Mother, around the time that I was born, was in a lawsuit. A neighbor was driving distracted and rear-ended her.
All right, anything about that that you think is going to influence your jury service?
No, sir.
You also indicated that there's either been a claim for injury or damages made by you or against you?
It was the same case.
Same thing?
Mother made a claim.
All right, any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Hyatt, you may inquire of Ms. Griever only.
Good morning, Ms. Griever. Do you have any questions about the type of case this is? Any questions about the fact that one action can result in multiple crimes? Okay. Anything about the beyond a reasonable doubt standard? Will you hold me to beyond a reasonable doubt, not beyond all possible doubt? Okay. No, that's all I have. I passed the clause. Thank you.
Mr. Riefers, you may inquire of Ms. Griever only.
No questions.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
All right, does
John,
the...
you have a hand, just so you know.
Oh, Mr.
Mind if I
Nunez.
stand up?
Oh, sure, go ahead. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and make that substitution now. Ms. Paport, right, Paport? Do you mind switching seats with Mr. Nunez?
Nunez is the one with the prior DUI 16 years ago. The state's going to strike.
All right, feel free to stand up, Mr. Nunez, move around as you need. All right, Ms. Hyatt, does the state wish to exercise a first peremptory challenge?
Did you want Mr. Riefers to question Ms. Griever?
He said he did not wish to,
Oh,
right?
I'm so
Did I miss
sorry,
that?
I missed that.
You're good, Mr. Riefers?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, we would excuse Ms. Griever with our thanks.
All right, thank you, Ms. Griever. Mr. Riefers, do you wish to exercise your first peremptory challenge?
Yes, Your Honor, I guess. You can excuse gentlemen standing up, I understand the back pain.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nunez. You are also free to go.
Thank you.
Mr. Nunez might have been your ringer.
Ms. Carpenter, if you could have the seat in the farthest one in.
And Lewis Smith.
We got evidence. We got an evidence bag, or maybe it's lunch. I think it's lunch.
Ms. Carpenter and Mr. Smith, were you each listening as we did voir dire this morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any of the questions that caught your attention or that you would have raised your hand to? Ms. Carpenter?
Your Honor, there was no real good place to disclose this, but I feel like I need to say, I was an attorney for about 10 years. I'm now a school teacher, so I'm
Defense or
inactive,
prosecution?
my bar license.
Much better profession to be in, I would say.
I was a city prosecutor for Middletown for about 6 years.
Yeah, striker.
And then went into private practice here in Warren County for about 4 years.
Okay. So the only thing that concerns me about that, Ms. Carpenter, is that you may have some understanding or familiarity with the law.
Correct, yes.
We just need to make sure that if I tell you something that is the law, that you can accept that and not apply your own idea of what you think the law is.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Smith, any of the questions that caught your attention or that you would raise your hand to? All right, so Ms. Carpenter, any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
Lawyers says strike him. Strike him.
And Mr. Smith, you indicated you served as a juror before in Warren County?
Domestic violence.
Okay,
Domestic
did you actually deliberate and reach a verdict?
The case was dismissed. The person got sick, so they couldn't continue.
Okay.
The
Was that
witness.
the person that passed out in Judge Beeler's room?
Probably.
Okay. All right, anything about that experience that you think is going to influence this case?
No.
Is there any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror
Both
for
spirit
us?
about that.
All right, Ms. Hyatt, you may inquire as to Ms. Carpenter and Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Good morning to you both. This is kind of messing me up a little bit with my seating chart because I keep wanting to look over to you. So it's just, but now we switched. So, all right, Ms. Carter, Carpenter, I'm so sorry. So how long were you a city prosecutor?
I was a city prosecutor for approximately 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, which city were you prosecuting?
Middletown.
Middletown, okay, from Middletown. Okay. Oh, that must have kept you pretty busy, I would imagine.
Yes, very good.
Was it all criminal or did you work all criminal?
All criminal.
Okay. So all the traffic misdemeanor cases that came through?
Correct.
Okay. Can I ask you why you decided to leave that profession?
At the time I had a
Dirty
young
cops.
child, my daughter, and so it got harder and harder to be on call all the time.
Okay. So you had to be on call outside of work?
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, just for search warrants and things of that
Mhm.
nature, as you know. And then I went into private practice here in Warren County. It was Kirby Law Firm.
Oh, with the Kirbys? Okay.
And when they both left for their appointments,
Yeah.
I went and practiced there and did a variety of law, domestic relations, criminal defense, and estate planning.
Oh, well, so you kind of covered a bunch of different.
Yes.
So you have a lot of knowledge about everything that we'll be presenting today then?
Somewhere up in my brain, yes. It's up
Okay.
there.
How long has it been since you've left the profession?
About 10 years.
Okay. Anything about, well, because you're kind of on both sides of the spectrum, because you've been the prosecutor side and now you've also been on criminal defense side. Can I ask you which side you enjoyed more?
I don't know. They both had their, they both had their good points and bad points, you know. At the end of the day, you're always talking to people at their lowest. you know? So,
On both sides, really, with victims and with defendants, I would imagine.
So I don't know if I really had a favorite side.
Okay.
She's playing the
Let me
middle of
ask
the
it
road.
this
She
way.
wants to be on it.
If you were, unfortunately, if something happened and you were sitting at the defense as a defendant, would you want you on the jury?
That's a good question. Yeah,
You would?
yeah.
Why?
I think I'm very even keel and I can see both sides. And in understanding that the defendant is not guilty until proven innocent, I think I've had enough life experience to understand what that kind of means.
Okay.
She's going to
But
strike
proven
him now.
guilty, hopefully. But I mean, from my side,
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you're fine. I just sometimes wonder, because I don't know, it's always, as you know, if you've ever had to pick a jury before,
Yeah.
you know, we don't usually like the lawyers on there. 'Cause it's
No, I
like,
understand it.
We
That's
just
why
never
I wanted
know.
to disclose it.
And I have been burnt by them before, so, okay.
You've been burnt by them. What?
That was all I had for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
Lawyers
Mr.
get in
Smith,
the
good
way of
morning
my
to you too, sir.
convictions.
The only real question I had for you was, I know you're married. Does your spouse work, or she's like a stay-at-home mom? And work that way? I mean,
She's a nurse practitioner.
she's a nurse practitioner. Oh, okay.
So she used to go to work, mom, which is different.
Do you have any questions about like beyond the reasonable doubt standard? Will you hold me to that and not beyond all possible doubt? No, you don't have a question, you mean? Okay, you'll hold me to beyond a reasonable doubt, but not all possible doubt? You have to say yes or no, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Anything about the fact that this one situation can result in multiple crimes? Any questions about that? Okay. Nothing in your background with anybody who's been, had bad experiences with law enforcement before? Any good friends or close family that have had issues with like OVIs or anything of that nature? That's good. Good. I pass the cause, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Riefers, you may inquire of Ms. Carpenter and Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's Carpenter. You said you did the prosecution side?
Correct.
6 years roughly, was it?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Okay. And then went to the defense side?
Mhm.
Okay. And how long did you do the defense side?
It's about 4 years, I'd say, give or take.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Now you're teaching school?
Yeah, 3rd grade.
Excellent. And you have no problems, I mean, it's probably weird, I don't know, with being a prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney. I think it'd be great to have you on the jury because you can see both sides of it.
Yeah.
I mean, all we're after is just full transparency on
Correct,
this is what
yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
I know she keeps going back to beyond a reasonable doubt, all that.
That's the standard.
Do you have any, how to word that?
Will you side with me?
When they say you're under arrest for obstruction, do you, from your knowledge, the officer needs to articulate what you've obstructed before they go hands-on and arrest you?
Yes, there would need to be testimony to that, yes.
Thank you. Sorry,
Smith.
I'm horrible with names. What was your name?
Lewis.
Lewis? I mean,
Hey,
you
Lewis.
didn't have any beyond a reasonable doubt. That's all we're after, is just, they've got to prove their case. No issues with that? No other questions, Your Honor?
State's
Pass the
gonna
cause,
strike
Mr. Riefers?
Yes, Your Honor.
Besides, does the state wish to exercise a second peremptory challenge?
We do, Your Honor, and with our thanks and hopefully understanding, we would excuse Ms. Carpenter.
Yep, they
Sorry.
don't want her.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. You're free to go.
We would not like a lawyer.
Mr. Riefers, you wish to exercise a second peremptory challenge?
Yes, Your Honor. What was your name, ma'am?
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Debbie Gellenborg.
Debbie,
Gellenborg.
Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gallenberg. You are free to go.
Debbie out. I don't know why.
Oh, I forgot, I didn't know that you. You're fine. You're fine. I want you to forward.
All right, are you Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Kramer, if you could have a seat in the back.
I guess I didn't realize the chairs rolled.
And you're Mr. Napier, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you could have a seat in the vacated chair in the front.
Do you have a,
Now go ahead and scoot over if you can.
somebody just died.
Mr.
Do you have a
Kramer?
Letterman on your belt?
That number, sir?
You're Kramer, right?
Yes, sir.
You sit there. Napier, you're over here.
Way down.
Way down there, that's always the rule.
First day,
Oh.
first day, Mel. They're blue blockers. I'm trying them out.
Right? Did I get that right?
No, actually, because I excused Ms. Carpenter first. So Mr. Kramer, I thought, would go in her spot, and then Mr. Napier would go in 8.
You're Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, I'm sorry, you did get
You're
it
Mr.
right.
Napier, right?
You got
I'm
it.
so sorry.
Okay.
I'm looking at
Were
number
each of
2.
you listening as we did our voir dire this morning?
I am so sorry.
Mr. Napier, were you listening?
I'm sorry, sir. What?
That's okay. Were you listening as we did our voir dire?
Yes, sir.
Any of the questions
Are
that
you
caught your
listening
attention
now?
or that you would raise your hand to?
No, sir.
How about you, Mr. Kramer? Any questions that caught your attention or that you would have raised your hand to?
Many courts show the jury.
Is there any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us in the case, Mr. Kramer? Mr. Napier, you indicated that you, first of all, served in the Marines. Thank you for your service. But you're also friends, related to, close with a law enforcement officer or prosecutor. Who's that?
Yes, sir. Ron Rupert.
Okay. Anything about that relationship that you think is going to affect how you decide the case?
No, sir.
Any reason that you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Hyatt, you may inquire.
Thank you. Good morning to you both. The same question for both of you. You have heard like the standard of proof. Anything about that you have any questions as far as beyond a reasonable doubt versus beyond all possible doubt? Will you both hold me then to beyond a reasonable doubt standard and not beyond all possible doubt? Is that okay? Great. Let me ask you too, Mr. Kramer, Napier. I'm so sorry, Mr. Napier. You're the one who knows Mr. Rupert. How do you know him?
No motorcycle buddy.
Okay, motorcycles. That's great. How long have you known each other?
Oh, God. 20-plus years, easily.
And he's been an attorney here for a long time, and especially in the Franklin area. Anything about your relationship with him that you feel like you would automatically side for one side over the other with him?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I thank you for your service as well as to you, sir, as well. Any questions about the type of case we have going on today? Any concerns that if somebody's been drinking and they have a loaded firearm and they can't transport that in their motor vehicle? Do you both understand why that could be an issue? Any questions about that?
No question.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all I have. I pass the call, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Riefers, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your friend, he's a prosecutor?
Sorry, again, what was?
Napier.
Napier. Thank you, sir. You said you were in the Marine Corps?
Yes.
Just 20 years, retired out?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Pulled my time, got out.
Semper Fi.
Yes, sir. I just happened to notice when you're walking in the stance. One of the things that you're always taught is when you walk, correct? Hands are like this.
Thumbs forward.
That's one of the things. I just wanted to make sure we distinguish that it's, because they're going to say that I balled my fist. Well, it's a stance that you're taking.
Gotcha.
Just kind of the same posture. No issues with being able to distinguish?
No, sir.
Now,
all right.
Now prosecution
Any
wants to
things with
strike
you?
you.
All right. Is anybody that just doesn't want to be here? Nobody asked that? I don't think
That's
I
a
have
great
any other
question.
questions.
All right, do you pass for cause?
All right.
Ms. Hyatt, does the state wish to exercise a third peremptory challenge?
She's going to strike Napier. Because he's like, yeah, the standards.
Your Honor, the state is satisfied with the jury. We
No.
will pass. Thank you.
Mr. Riefers, do you wish to exercise your third peremptory challenge?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we have the name of prospective alternate, please.
Mackenzie. Come on down, Mackenzie.
Hello, Ms. Hunter.
Some courts do show the jury. Some courts even allow the media to film the jury and show it during trial as long
If
as
you
it's
could
not
have a
close
seat
up.
in that back chair there next to Mr. Smith. Ms. Hunter, the role of an alternate can be sometimes a difficult one because you have to sit, listen to the evidence, hear everything, but sort of in the back of your mind, you may never decide this case. But if something happens to one of our other jurors, we plug you right into the jury and we keep going. So if you're a sports person, you can think of yourself as a second string quarterback, sixth man on the bench. If you're a theater person, you can be the understudy, whatever it is, you need to be ready to go. Is that a role that you can serve for us? Were you listening as we did our voir dire? Any of the questions that caught your attention or that you would have raised your hand to? You indicated that you're employed as a program manager. What kind of work does that involve?
So I work on provider incentives for
you could speak a little louder for us.
I work on provider incentives for a health insurance company.
All right, any reason you can't be a fair and impartial juror for us? All right, Ms. Hyatt, questions for the alternate?
No, Your Honor, we would pass, thank you.
Mr. Riefers, questions for the alternate?
No, Your Honor.
Pass for cause?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hyatt, does the state wish to exercise a peremptory challenge on the alternate?
We don't, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Riefers, does the defense wish to exercise a peremptory challenge on the alternate?
No, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who remain in the gallery, we now have our jury. It's never really there's no good way to determine how many people we're going to need in advance. And I will tell you, it is an absolute disaster when we run out of people. We send a deputy sheriff over to the Walmart and ask them if they are residents of Warren County. If so, we bring them over for jury service.
I don't think he's joking.
You might keep that in mind if you're ever at Walmart, somebody asks you where you live. But we're not going to need you today. It's an open courtroom, so you can stay if you would like. Nobody ever takes me up on that invitation, so if you want to go ahead and leave, now's a good time. You could go ahead and exit out the back. For those of you who remain, you are the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You can go ahead and head out that way. I call it the back, you might call it the front. It's that door right there.
See ya.
If you could all rise, Ms. Snelling is now going to administer to you the oath.
Do you swear, so help you God, or affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury, that you will diligently inquire into and carefully deliberate all matters between the state of Ohio and the defendant, Brandon Riefers, to the best of your skill and understanding and without bias or prejudice?
We do.
May be seated.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here in a couple of minutes, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to come back, we're going to hear the opening statements of the parties.
It's going to sound a lot like
first,
ordeal.
I have some preliminary instructions for you. That first instruction is going to be the most important. Everybody take a deep breath with me and relax. I understand that jury service is a little strange. A short explanation is in order. Like most things in life, a trial is governed by rules. The parties, the witnesses, they are bound by those rules. You and I are bound by those rules as well. The lawyers and Mr. Riefers are going to present evidence, and they're going to do this by questioning witnesses. This has to be done according to the rules of procedure and evidence. My job is to enforce the rules and determine which evidence may be admitted. Your job is to determine the facts and apply the facts to the law. You are the sole judges of the facts in this case, the credibility of the witnesses, and the weight to be given to the testimony. Later, I am going to instruct you on the law, and it is your sworn duty to accept the law as I give it to you. The procedure for the trial is going to be as follows. Like I said, in a couple of minutes, we're going to take a break, get you situated to the jury room. Then when you return, we're going to hear opening statements. Then we're going to hear evidence, first from Ms. Hyatt, then perhaps from Mr. Riefers. There might be some witnesses called by either side. After the conclusion of the evidence, then you're going to hear closing arguments. Then I'm going to present you with the instructions of law. Thereafter, you're going to deliberate and reach a verdict. I try to start as close to 8:30 as we can. Then we break, usually around 10:30. We break for lunch between 12:30 and 1:30, and then we take an afternoon break. I try to keep things moving to the extent possible, but the way we present the evidence, the witnesses that are available, they will control to some extent. It's important that you be fair and attentive throughout the trial. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Do not permit anyone to discuss the case with you or in your presence. And do not begin to form an opinion about how this case should be decided until it's finally submitted to you. This instruction has become a little bit controversial amongst my judicial colleagues right now. Some people say, why don't we let jurors talk about the case right away and think about the case right away? Because that's how people process information. That is the wrong view. And the reason for that is I'm going to give you the opening statements, the witnesses, closing arguments, instructions of law. I'm going to give those to you in a certain order for a certain reason. And it would not be fair for you to begin discussing the case before it is that you have everything that you need to make an informed decision. After the case is over, I'm going to release you from this instruction. You can talk about the case with whomever you would like, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You are not to talk with the attorneys in the case. or the parties or the witnesses at all, and they are not going to talk to you. We generally keep everybody apart for the purposes of a trial, but if you were to run into Ms. Hyatt or Mr. Riefers in the hallway, sort of an awkward encounter, you're going to look off to the side, keep going, they're going to do the same. We do this to protect the integrity of the proceedings. If someone were to see you talking to one of the lawyers or the witnesses, they might look in from the outside and think you're talking about the case, and then the appearance of a fair trial would be compromised. So don't talk to the lawyers or the witnesses. Do we have any smokers amongst us? Because we generally keep people apart, but we do have an area for our smokers if we need it. Also, many of you may be users of or familiar with social networking sites, things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't even know what they all are anymore. During the course of the trial, you are not permitted to post any aspect of this case to any social networking site or to the internet. This does not mean that you can't send a text to your family member letting them know that you've been selected for jury duty. Obviously, don't talk about the case. You can send an email to the people at work saying you're not going to be there. As long as you're not talking about the case, those things are permitted, but you need to wait until the case is over to bring your Facebook pals up to speed. During the trial, you are going to have to leave your cell phones, pagers, smartwatches, any kind of electronic device that anybody has to get in contact with you in the jury room. You're going to be reunited with them on the break, but I want your focus to be here. The only thing more distracting than getting a text is getting a text and not being able to look at it immediately. So cell phones, smartphones, tablets, anything that you have like that, leave them in the jury room. You'll have access to them on the break. I do have some exceptions to this. If there is anybody who needs those for medical, anybody have medical needs, hearing aids, Mr. Kramer?
Yes, sir. I have an insulin pump.
Okay, so keep your cell phone with you. Just figure out a way so that you're not looking at it. I did make an exception a couple of years ago for this. I got really angry because she was texting during my trial. Really upset me. Don't upset me.
Don't upset me.
All
There's
right.
your warning.
But yeah, you can, if you need to check your whatever you got going, I don't know how that works.
Blood glucose.
Yeah, you can take care of that kind of business. All right, you're not attempt to investigate this case on your own or to obtain any information or additional information, evidence, facts on your own. We live in a day and age where we consult artificial intelligence, Google, whatever it is. You think to yourself, oh, I don't know the answer to that. I will ask Google about it or AI or whatever. Don't do that. There's no phone a friend, no internet searches. Everything that you need to know about this case, you will learn from this courtroom. Also, you're going to hear some evidence about where this occurred. Don't drive by there on lunch or after court is over. We don't need any of that. Like I said, everything that you need to know, you'll hear from us. I'm going to try to remind you of these instructions at most of the recesses, but if I forget, nonetheless, they apply to your conduct throughout the trial. If during the trial you have personal issues, something comes up, let Ms. Karoko or Ms. Fisher know that, and they will inform me. During the trial, we're going to have witnesses. Each of those witnesses is going to be asked questions by the person who calls them as a witness. We call that direct examination. Then they're going to be subject to questions from the person on the other side. We call that cross-examination. On cross-examination, I do allow these folks to inquire into matters that do not directly relate to the direct examination. I do this for helping you to determine what weight to be given to the testimony, so you can use it for that and for no other purpose. During the trial, I may sustain or overrule an objection. You are not to draw any inference for or against either party from a question that I do not permit to be answered. I rule on the admission of evidence. Since you don't know what the answer to that question might have been, it's not fair for you to sort of invent evidence or guess what the answer might have been. Sometimes people blurt out an answer before I have the opportunity to rule on an objection. I tell you to disregard it. Sometimes the attorneys say stuff that I tell you to disregard. Just put that out of your mind and treat it as though you never heard it. What Ms. Hyatt says as the lawyer in the case, it's not evidence. What Mr. Riefers says when he is acting as a lawyer, also not evidence in the case. You should not take it as such. Evidence comes from this chair right here. After the presentation of the evidence, I'm going to provide you with the instructions of law. Thereafter, you're going to deliberate and reach a verdict. Deliberating and reaching a verdict is not like going into a voting booth and casting a ballot. You're going to be discussing your position with your fellow jurors, and you might be called upon to explain to your fellow jurors why it is that you think that you are supported by a certain verdict. A good juror is a good listener, but more than this, a good juror is an open-minded juror. Be careful not to immediately jump to a conclusion as to how this case should come out, and then just sort of listen for evidence or arguments that supports your initial view. Listen to the evidence with a disposition of being persuaded, and keep an open mind throughout the process. Your consideration of this case must be free as is humanly possible from sympathy, bias, and prejudice, and you are not to be influenced by any consideration of race, sex, religion, national origin, age, or disability. Some courts differ on their approach to allowing jurors to take notes and ask questions. Ms. Hyatt touched on this a little bit. I allow my jurors to take notes. I do not allow you to ask questions. All the questions will be taken care of for you.
Bummer.
But
questions.
if you want to take notes, Ms. Groko has notepads available for you. We have two things that we need to worry about. First of all, don't let the taking of notes distract you from the evidence. You can kind of see me up here. I'm typing away, taking notes. Everybody's taking notes. But I kind of know what's coming up next. You don't. Make sure that you're not taking notes on something that's not important and miss something else that is important. Also, jury deliberation is not the test of the best note taker. So even if you write something down and it is in conflict with the collective memories of the jury, you need to figure out how you're going to weigh that out in the process. The notepads we're going to take with you into the jury room on each break. Don't look at them, review them. If you need to make additional notes, you can during the breaks, but don't review them with other jurors during the breaks. And they will be collected and destroyed after it's over. Nobody is required to take notes if you don't want to, but it's available to you. We do have some security measures in place in the courthouse, deputies, that sort of thing. It's no different in this case than in any other trial, so they shouldn't have any bearing on your verdict. I don't even know if I should give the COVID instruction anymore, but just make sure that you're smart about it. We have hand sanitizer, Kleenexes, cough into your elbow. You guys all know how that works by then. It's important to keep the same seat that you have now. So I have a seating chart. So just like third grade, make sure that you remain in the same seat that you have. Don't deviate from that location. Also, you may have noticed it is in my nature to inject a little humor into these proceedings, or try to anyway. I do that not to detract from the importance or the solemnity of what we are doing here today. I do that because I think it helps people feel a little bit more comfortable in an otherwise uncomfortable situation.
And the
So Ms. Kuroko is going to go ahead and get you acquainted with the jury room. We will see you back here in about 15 minutes.
Out to the jury room the jurors go. I think we've only got 6 plus 1. Prosecutor dismissed the lawyer. So, didn't want her on the jury. You know the rules. You won't let anything slide. Count the judge jokes.
You may be seated. We are on the record outside the presence of the jury. Ms. Hyatt, anything from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Riefers, anything from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. 15 minutes, long enough for opening statements?
Maybe 20, just because we have a few charges.
20 minutes for openings.
He's not going to need 20
Do we
minutes.
need TV? For your opening?
No, not for my opening, no. I'm just getting ready for the first witness.
All right, so we're going to do openings and then we're going to launch into our first witness?
Yeah, I will need, I'm so sorry. I do need that for my elements. I apologize for that. Yes.
All right, we'll see you back here at 10:30.
Sounds good.
All right, so they're going to go offline briefly, or at least out of the courtroom. And 10:30, this one's going to start. It's probably going to be a single-day trial. Single-day trial is going to be pretty quick. Defendant goes over to talk to the prosecutor. So, you really think you can pull this one off? She seems nervous. But oh my goodness, did she completely just screw up the voir dire. He didn't know better, so he didn't object. Probably doesn't even know he could object. But he ends up letting her get away with stating facts as if it's evidence, as if it's a given. At the front end of the case, here's what. First of all, he was drunk with the gun. Do any of you have a problem with somebody not being allowed to have a gun when they're drunk? Because he was. No problems. Or all right, good. We should be fine. I'm like, what? Oh man. So let's let the jury find the treats in the break room. Prosecutor can make it. If this prosecutor can make it, I should apply to law school. Allie, do it. Do it. No way 20 minutes is enough time for the defendant. I think he's going to struggle to fill the time because he's a one-issue defendant, right? That's all it is. He has one issue. Well, there's a couple small things. He's like, within 6 seconds of getting out of the car, you had me by the wrist. You arrested me too fast. You didn't tell me what my stop was for. There's all that, but his one issue is I asked for a chemical test and you didn't give me one. So I'm afraid the state's going to be able to say there's no evidence you asked for a chemical test because the video's gone and the officer's gone. All right, where are we? We are here in Warren. Is it Warren County? I'm pretty sure it's Warren County. Double check. Warren County Common Pleas Court. Warren County, Ohio, officially. The jury has been seated. Opening statements will begin shortly. And pin that really quickly. Thank you, Samantha, for that. Just a quick trial. I don't see this taking more than a day. Actually, more than a couple hours, honestly. We've got a few witnesses, and so that'll slow things down. But I think the red pen. The carpet is terrible. This court looks a ton better with blue blockers on. It really does. It just gives it a lot more yellow hue to it than the bright blue. Like blindingly bright blue. All right. Let's see. She's not leaving the courtroom. She's just getting set up. The judge has a nice chair. I think we're all good. It was fun listening to a jury selection. I always like that process when it's shared with all of us. Just know that a lot of people have questions like, "What? Why are they showing the jury?" The judge decides if the jury gets to be shown or not. In this case, the judge literally shows the jury himself. There are two schools of thought on this. One is that a court proceeding is a public proceeding, and anyone can walk in and watch. Graves informed me he's been called into a courtroom. Oh, man. He's asking questions now. We'll have to wait and see. It's probably going to take an hour or so before he finds out if he's going to be on the jury or not. Maybe a little more. I wonder what the case is. Of course, if he is called, he can't tell us. So, well, other than that, I'm on my jury. I'll be gone for a little while. I don't believe a word Greener says anymore, says Mel. Anymore? When did you... No, just kidding. We'll find out eventually. I think he actually is serving. I think he is. I think he told me he's had jury service. So, is this live? Yes, it is. Live. Gray. It is. I was saying that there are two schools of thoughts. You've got the idea that it's a public courtroom. Anyone can walk in. Anyone can look at the jurors, can listen, can hear the names read in court, and know who the jurors are. As a matter of fact, it's even easier for people who know the jurors to walk into court than somebody who doesn't know the jurors because of proximity. And then there's this other school of thought that sort of along the lines of a juror is not required to ever say what happened, in deliberations, how things went, what the votes were, who was for, who was against, who flipped. They can never be required to say that unless they're under oath and the judge compels them to. Because of that, we think there's a level of anonymity, of secrecy about it. And it's sort of worked in by tradition into many courts that the judge says, and so the jury can't be shown, and everything like that. Now, there are reasons to not show the jury, especially on a big trial, because this is one of those things where this is why we can't have nice things, right? People do stupid stuff, and on a big trial, imagine, say, like Karen Reed, if they had shown the jury, there would be people trying to contact juror members. They would, and I'd agree 100%. Don't show the jury on a big trial like that. Something like this, where they've got one day. They're literally not going to talk to their families between when they took the oath and when they returned the verdict. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to do anything. So, but it's fun. Glad we got to hear some of the questions, although I do think Fort Dyer was bad. This officer who's on the screen there, I don't like him. Is that bad of me? He's going to be a witness in this case. He was the arresting officer in this case, and he's definitely got a side on this one. Not like on the side of justice. He's got a side, like a vindictive side. And what I don't like about it is that he's come out and said, I found out you weren't actually an officer. And it sounds like he didn't believe the defendant on the side of the road when he said, hey, I'm a retired cop. Because he testified under oath that he found out that he wasn't a retired cop, or he wasn't a former cop or something. But the state has literally in their voir dire, which was sort of an open, stipulated to that and said, yeah, he was a former police officer here and in Texas. Maybe that would have changed things. If the cop thought he was pretending to be a retired cop, I think they would have come down on him pretty hard. Whereas if he thought he was a fellow, back the blue, thin blue line guy, he might have had different treatment. So, are the glasses new, Virginia? I've always worn them, as Greener said. Since day one. Just the focus is off, so you can see them now, right? No, these are new. Amber sent me some blue light blocking glasses to try out to see if it helps with headaches at the end of the day, because I watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens and several lights all day long. So now I don't believe anything Recovery Addict says. I thought it was funny when Greeners replied that I've always watched them, always worn them. Was the defendant ever a cop? Yes, for a number of years. Not retired. Didn't do like 20 years and retire. He worked as an officer and then quit, is my understanding, before retirement. Denise Feldman-Erzlin, member for 32 months. OG, thanks for all you do and don't do. Denise, congratulations. And it would not be the same without you. 32 months of support. That is huge. That's huge. The cop comes off as this being personal, like the bad date. Other half knows him. Yeah. This is what this trial is about. This is about basically a gentleman who was pulled over for the friends called and said he was drunk and disorderly or something like that. And so the cop saw him leaving the area, pulled him over and said, why did your friends call on you? And he's like, why did you stop me? And the cop didn't say anything. And it elevated to, I think you're drunk, you have a firearm, I'm going to charge you not with drunk driving, because that would take a test that would require me to do a chemical test, but I can just, through my observations, I can observe that you're intoxicated to a point where you should not have a firearm on you. And so these charges didn't require a test to prove blood alcohol content. The defendant, when he got booked into jail, says that for 3 hours he was demanding, I want a blood test. I can prove that I'm not drunk. I want a blood test. And they wouldn't give him one. And so he's saying that was exculpatory evidence the state has a responsibility to collect. And so his defense is that my blood test would have shown me that I wasn't intoxicated, even though I was mad and punching the window and whatever else and mouthing off. I wasn't intoxicated. And if I wasn't intoxicated, then it's not a problem to have a firearm, because that's legal. And so basically everything goes away if that doesn't happen. So Ohio doesn't require a test for drunk driving either. Oh my goodness. So loophole charges, yeah, that's what we've got. Will he call his bad date as a witness? Oh, man, can you imagine? Can you imagine if the date showed up and was like, oh, yeah, let me give you the tea. Let me tell you what happened that night. Warren County is 1 county south of Dayton, Ohio, and 2 counties north of Cincinnati. Thanks, Lori Jean, for the geography lesson. Help us figure out where we are watching this one. A few more minutes and the jury will be back. Lindsay, I'm trying them out. They're obviously not comfortable on my face. I'm not comfortable with something being on my face yet. They feel good. I think they look fine. And I think they're working as far as the blue goes, but the reflections are a little, because I have so many lights literally behind me and in front of me, there's some weird reflections in my eyes. So a few of us are rooting for the defendant. He is pro se, meaning he does not have a lawyer representing him. We believe he does have a lawyer on standby, or a friend who was a lawyer or a family member. Somehow the judge is allowing him to consult with somebody behind the bar periodically, but he is doing all the motions, he's doing all the objections, he's doing the questioning, he's doing the opening and the closing, and he will also testify. He'll take the stand and testify himself, which will probably be in the narrative, as it will be just awkward to have the state question him directly to get his story out. I was trying to figure out when you had time for an eye appointment, Anna. I would get my eyes checked, but I can't read the number for the eye doctor. It's all blurry. I need the ad to have big numbers so I can read it. So his friends turned him in for having the gun, turned him in for being drunk. Apparently there was a date that went bad. I don't want to know details on that, but yeah. It must have been a pretty bad date if instead at the end of the night your date's like, and I'm calling 911. You know, that's like next level. It's one thing to say, hey, I'm not picking up the bill. I'm going to walk out on this restaurant. You've got to pay for everything. That's one level of bad date. It's another one to be like, and let's get the cops involved now. So it could be bad. And honestly, this defendant might be guilty of some pretty horrendous stuff related to the bad date situation. So I'm not trying to defend him in any way there, but it does also feel like the police and the prosecution is trying to stick him with something that doesn't really seem fair on the face. Yes, from Bort. He said she called 911. Yep. On him. I swear I want to clear my whole spell check cache. I don't know what I did to Siri, but she's messing with me. Maybe somebody got your phone and messed you up. Winter Sky. I'm hoping these work. It's funny because if they do work, I just won't have a headache. But I don't always have a headache at the end of the day, so we'll see. I think they make me smarter just wearing them. Bree says, I want to root for him. I don't like the thought of him driving drunk with a firearm to boot, but it sounds like the boys in blue were not so great on this one. How bad can a date be for someone to call 911? Virginia, I guess you're inviting horror stories in chat. I imagine a couple people could be like, oh, let me tell you. Let me tell you how it went down. Can we take a break at 1 p.m. and watch the Apple event today? Oh, Gracefully Broken Mom. Tempting. We'll be... we are taking lunch around that time, but I think we'll only have about half an hour to cover that. What are you expecting them to release? Here's what I'd like. The Apple Vision Pros, first of all, they're ridiculously expensive. They've got to be smaller, they've got to be more convenient, they've got to be more functional, they've got to be better and cheaper in every area to even tempt me. But I do buy most of the products that Apple sells. That's the one I have not. It's just too expensive. Plus, it doesn't seem practical. If found guilty, does he face a lot of prison time? Not really a lot. I don't remember what the charge would be. I think he's like 6 months, maybe. But the surrender to the firearms, I guess he had 2 firearms with him. Paul Roberts says, I have pneumonia again. That, of course, means a Recovery Addict marathon. Paul, it's the best medicine. It really is. It is. Hopefully you get over that quickly. I know I've got a friend who suffered with pneumonia. It is terrible. I am so sorry. Hopefully you're feeling better soon. Okay. I need new AirPods, says Natty. Yes, but I do love my Vision Pro. Patricia, I've not even tried them. I'm trying to save up and justify for the Meta 3 because for one reason. First of all, I think if I put them on, I would fall over like dizzy. But the Meta 3 augmented reality glasses, they're those big white things that have like dots of cameras on the front, and you can actually see, so you can wear them and look around, but you just look goofy. But it also projects augmented reality stuff around you, or you can be completely in alternate reality type thing, so you can't see what's around you. I want to watch my kids play Beat Saber with those. That's why I want this, because they watch the movies and they replicate the motions, but they've never done it with like the glasses. I just can't justify them right now. It's just that's an expensive game. The gun charge could be serious. Might lose gun rights for a while. See, the new camera design looks awful. Excited for iOS 26 RC. I haven't seen the new design. I mean, I was pretty happy with this one. With the 3. I've got the 16 Pro, which I rarely have the latest and greatest, but I did upgrade this one. The kids have Oculus, and I have to be careful when I walk into the room because I might get punched because he can't see or hear me. Using Google Pickles since 2016. Let's have a little tech talk briefly since we're bringing it up. I really do feel that the glasses with the built-in screen are going to be a game changer when the technology finally catches up to the point where it can be worn comfortably with a battery that lasts all day and does not look goofy. Those are the 3 things you need. Comfortably, battery all day, not goofy, and of course you need the functionality, but I think we've already got a lot of the functionality in place. When we have those 3 things, I think it will be amazing. There will be jobs that require it. Imagine, I don't know, just imagine flipping through a magazine to try to find a reference, something like you're looking through a historic magazine or something, you're flipping through to try to find something, and your glasses will be like, it will just extract the parts you need and assemble stuff, gathering data. Just amazing. Sorting things, looking at, robots do a lot of this stuff, but they're things, guys. They're things. Won't buy anything Apple. Samsung's my jam, says Daffy. Remote surgery. Oh, that's fun. That sounds fun. Game over. You messed up. Game over. Try again. Respawn. Android girl all the way, says Cast the Sass. I feel like the UI is much easier to navigate for my brain. What are the glasses called? Apple's are called Apple Vision Pro, I think.
Ready for a jury?
Yes, ready. Sure. I'm looking at the Meta 3, which is a much cheaper version. Apple Vision Pro is like $3,000, and Meta 3 is like $500. Here we go with the opens. We do have a counter. Let's get that ready here just briefly. Quickly. Wow. Camera's going crazy.
Maybe May be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to hear the opening statements of the attorneys.
Why do we have-
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to hear the opening statements of the attorneys. And Mr. Riefers, we've agreed in advance that each side is going to have up to 20 minutes for their opening statement. Ms. Hyatt, you may proceed.
Hang on. Box 2 is 142.
Good morning. We talked about this case a little bit, but I really want to kind of go into what we anticipate the evidence is going to show you throughout the trial when we present our witnesses. You're here today, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, because back on Saturday, November 9th of 2024, this defendant, Brandon Riefers, had been at the Lindsay and Robin residence on Old Farm Drive in Mason, Deerfield Township, Warren County, Ohio. But it kind of starts, the actual incident happened around 11:30-ish that evening, but it really started earlier that day. You're going to hear from 3 lay witnesses, or what we call regular citizens. Ashley Burns, who you're going to hear from her by a video deposition. I just want to let you know, because unfortunately she was not able to be, she was out of state for this week, so we have already had her recorded her testimony. But Ashley and the defendant had been online talking, dating, like kind of like feeling each other out as far as possibly meeting to date. Ashley lives outside of Columbus. And on November 9th, she was at her really good friend's house, Lindsay and Robin Davis. They are the ones that live on Old Farm Drive. Just so you know, they're all like some kind of engineers or engineering related, which I will tell you I'm always in awe of because I don't do math. So, and my whole family's engineering except for me. So it's just, but they all were meeting up. The defendant came to their house earlier that morning, had some coffee. They went to like some Christmas markets there in Sharonville area because it was, you know, early November. And then after that, they went to 50 West, had some beers together. Robin was really the designated driver for him and Lindsay. Ashley and the defendant was driving in his motor vehicle, which you'll see is a white Toyota Highlander, kind of an SUV type of motor vehicle. They go to 50 West. After that, they all decided to go back to the Davis's house to have some like burgers, and Robin will tell you that he's a bourbon aficionado. The defendant apparently also enjoys bourbon, so they all meet back up at the Davis house. En route, Ashley would tell you that she and the defendant had stopped at a liquor store, and the defendant picked up some bourbon. I believe it was Weller Red, and they all go back, have some food, have some bourbons. They were mixing some old fashions, Robin was. The defendant was drinking more of it straight. You'll hear from them that he consumed quite a bit of bourbon at their house, to the point where when they first met him that morning, they will tell you he was very gentlemanly, very nice, very, you know, approachable, seemed to be a very nice man. But as the drinking went on, you're going to hear from them that his demeanor changed. He became more aggressive, more snappish, or kind of short-tempered. And you'll hear from Ashley that he was almost kind of demanding, hey, you know, I bought you some beers, you know, I want to have sex. There was some talk about that. He made her very uncomfortable with what he was saying to her, to the point that she will tell you, and also you'll hear from Lindsay, that Ashley and her got together, and Ashley's like, I don't want him here anymore. This is obviously into the evening of November 9th, that's Saturday evening. So Lindsay and Robin and Ashley approached the defendant and said, look, we're all needing to go to bed, you just need to take off. And there was some resistance to that, and you'll hear from them about that. To the point where he does leave, and they're like, okay, good, but then he immediately starts calling Ashley back after that, wanting to come back, and in fact, he does return. There is doorbell camera of him approaching the house on his return. Meanwhile, knowing that he was coming back, Lindsay is calling 911 because she's worried about, he is former Texas law enforcement. They also, I mean, Ashley is former Army, and you know, I'm going to tell you, they all were carrying guns. They had guns in the house, and they all armed themselves. She and Lindsay and Robin all did, because they were worried about him coming back to the house. That is what precipitated the 911 call happening. And he then comes around to the back. There's some conversation with Robin. Meanwhile, you'll hear Ashley and Lindsay are upstairs because Lindsay and Robin have a young daughter. They didn't want to have any problems, so they were kind of up there protecting her. Defendant winds up leaving again, and they're on the 911 call. You'll hear that he's taken off and he's headed towards Snyder Road. And that's when Sergeant Simpson then is coming to respond to a disorderly person call. That was the basis for this 911 call. And so as he's coming into the subdivision, he happens to see the defendant at T intersection. They're sitting there. He then turns around. As he does so, you'll see on his cruiser cam, this defendant then immediately takes a left without using his turn signal, and he speeds off. Now, he does not go very far. He only goes down, 6, 7, 8, 9 houses approximately. But Sergeant Simpson has to take off after him, has lights, chirps his siren. You might hear that on there. And the defendant immediately stops. Now, when he stops, he kind of stops and put it in park before he fully stops. So it's one of the kind of those lurching kind of stops. Sergeant Simpson's going to tell you how he approached the motor vehicle that the defendant was in. That as he's approaching, he sees the defendant making what they call furtive movements. He's moving around on the inside. Now, Sergeant Simpson is well aware that this defendant is supposedly former law enforcement. So he's concerned that, like a lot of law enforcement officers, he might have a loaded gun with him. And as he's approaching the defendant's car, he sees the defendant punch the windshield. He asks the defendant some questions, including, do you have a loaded firearm on you? The defendant refused to answer. He had his hands on the steering wheel, staring straight ahead. Due to all that, Sergeant Simpson did not want to be interacting with him where he may have access to a loaded firearm, so he asked him to step out of the motor vehicle. You'll see that that does happen. And you will see that it goes bad fairly quickly. And you'll also hear that there was a lot going on that evening in Deerfield Township. So Sergeant Simpson, for quite a while, is on his own. He had no backup, even though you'll hear him call for backup as he was approaching the car, and then also when he saw what was going on inside the car. The defendant comes out. There's some interaction, there's some arguing, some discussion, I guess you could say, between the defendant with Sergeant Simpson, but to the point where Sergeant Simpson did not want him anywhere close. He ordered him to the ground. Defendant refused to go to the ground. Defendant is a large man, so Sergeant Simpson did not feel comfortable, he'll tell you, trying to enforce his orders with the defendant all by himself. He needed backup. So he had the defendant turn around with his back to him and his hands behind his back. So that way, if the defendant tried to grab a weapon, it would give Sergeant Simpson a little bit more of a reaction time. And you'll see on there, but you'll also see where the defendant does turn around, but then he keeps turning back. He turns around, he keeps coming back, and then starts to approach Sergeant Simpson, and it goes bad at that point fairly quickly. Sergeant Simpson's trying to keep space because he'll tell you that he saw a clip on the defendant's pants pocket, waistband area, thinking it was a knife, and he did not want somebody who's armed coming too close to him, so he was trying to keep him back. You'll see that the defendant is swatting Sergeant Simpson's hands away a couple of times. You're also going to see that
it was his gun.
One point right at the very end, he comes at the defendant with his hands and fists coming at Sergeant Simpson, and that's when he gets tased the first time. Now, he then immediately pulls the taser probes out, the defendant does, and he comes and he's tased again, kicking, and he's on the ground this time. You'll see it on the cruiser cam. He's kicking at Sergeant Simpson and trying to keep Sergeant Simpson away from him. He's also rolling, which, according to what I've been told, is a great way to break the connection between the taser probe and it hurting your body.
Well, that's some good information. Thanks
He
for
then
that.
gets up and is so close to Sergeant Simpson, this time he can't even deploy the taser, so he dry stuns him very quickly. Defendant, you'll see it goes around the front of the cruiser, and then Sergeant Simpson, he's still not getting on the ground. Even though he's being told this repeatedly by Sergeant Simpson to get on the ground, he refuses to do that. He then hits him in the back of his leg with his baton, The defendant will go to the ground on the other side of the defendant's motor vehicle. You'll see that as well. But he's being told, if you can hear it, and unfortunately, Sergeant Simpson's body mic was not operating properly that night, so you're going to hear the audio from inside the cruiser that you can still pick up some of the louder voices when it gets loud enough. But you can hear Sergeant Simpson ordering him onto his stomach, roll onto your stomach and put your hands behind your back. This defendant never does. The only way that happened was when you'll see backup finally arriving, and this defendant had to be forcibly rolled onto his stomach. The bad thing is he made sure his hands were underneath his stomach. So his hands were on the ground, and he had to have his hands forcibly removed from underneath his stomach. Lo and behold, there was not a knife clipped on that clip. There was a loaded firearm, a loaded .380 firearm, exactly where his hands had been minutes or seconds before. You're going to hear that he's finally able to be cuffed, he's put into the back of a cruiser, and then his motor vehicle is searched. And inside that motor vehicle, right where the driver's side is, right at where his right foot would be, along next to the center console, right on the driver's floorboard, was the second loaded gun. This was a 9mm. That was also found. You're going to hear that he also, not only you're going to hear what he consumed at the Davis's house, but you're also going to hear from several law enforcement officers that this defendant had a very strong odor of alcohol. And in fact, the back of their cruisers, you could smell the strong odor of alcohol just from the defendant sitting there. He also had some slurred speech and continued to just argue and refuse to listen to the officers.
Well, he might be in trouble.
You're going to have both firearms. The one thing is, just so you know, a firearm is a firearm because it's operable. We have to show operability. We have to show that if you put ammunition in that gun, you pull the trigger, it expels a projectile, it expels a bullet.
You have to test fire it.
In this case, we would have had the person who test fired the firearms who did, come in and test fire, and they both were operable. But the defendant and we are stipulating that we're not going to need him to testify. We stipulate that those guns were operable. That both of them, if you had pulled the trigger, because they were both loaded, they would have shot. They would have expelled the bullet. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see from the cruiser cams that how very quickly this situation could have gone so very wrong for Sergeant Simpson and then the other responding officers.
Arguably, it went wrong
especially
for Mr.
because
Reefer.
he was alone at the stop with this defendant who had a loaded gun on his person. So on this date, what all is he charged with? And we did talk about what the crimes were, but we'll start with count 1, which is that improper handling.
At the Elmo, are we going to get to see this? Hopefully we'll get to see the body cam footage too.
So we'll start with, can you see that okay? Do you want me to make it a little larger?
And big and
Is it
please.
okay? Okay, so we don't have to prove it necessarily the date, but we have to, it's always in the indictment because we have to put people on notice as to what day we're talking about. But it happened on or about November 9th of 2024, happened in Warren County. You're going to hear that it was just in that subdivision in Deerfield Township, Warren County, that it was in fact this defendant, that he did knowingly transport or have a loaded firearm in his motor vehicle, and that he was under the influence of alcohol, drug of abuse, or both. In this case, we're alleging that with what he was seen ingesting and the smell, that he was under the influence of alcohol. That's what you need for improper handling. Now, you're going to have 2 specifications if you find that he was in fact guilty of improper handling of a firearm in a motor vehicle. There's 2 firearm specifications that one for each of the loaded firearms, one on his person, one in the car, because he was originally in the car, so there's really originally 2 loaded guns in the car. So that he is in fact the defendant, or he was the possessor of the firearm. The one is a .380, the other one was a 9mm, and then it comes up I'm gonna tell you right now, whoever came up with some of these instructions and definitions, they never had to sit in front of, with the jury, because it's sometimes it just sounds so more wordy than it needs to be. But essentially, that these firearms he had, and it was part of the commission of the offense. So in this case, because he's charged with improper handling of a firearm, he had to have firearms in order to commit that offense. So that's where that kind of comes in. It's kind of a very wordy way to say that, because if he didn't have firearms, then he wouldn't have this crime. So in fact that he had the firearms, that was part of the reason why he's charged with this crime. Count 2, that's the using weapons while intoxicated. Sorry, it's like that. But again, it's same date, same location. The only difference, and like I said a little bit in voir dire, the only difference between using weapons while intoxicated and improper handling of a firearm in a motor vehicle while intoxicated is we don't have to show that he had it in a motor vehicle. But again, you can commit 2 different types of crimes just by having firearms while you're under the influence of, again, alcohol in this case, not necessarily drugs. So he did have or carry a firearm while he was under the influence. That's simply it for using weapons while intoxicated. And then it's the same 2 specifications. He had to have the firearm in order to commit this offense. So that it was used in the commission of the offense, because otherwise we wouldn't have this offense without the firearms. Count 3, obstructing official business. It's
a lame charge.
Obstructing official business, and and you'll see risk of physical harm to any person. Same date and time, location, same defendant. In this case, we have to show that without privilege to do so. So he did not have the right or the privilege to do what he was doing with Sergeant Simpson this evening, that he did actions for the purpose to obstruct or delay or impede or hamper Sergeant Simpson in the performance of his duty. So what was the performance of the duty? It was a traffic stop. He was following up on a 911 call and along with the traffic stop. He was doing an investigation as to what in the world was really going on here. And this defendant impeded, obstructed, hampered, prevented him from, or delayed him in that investigation of getting that information as to what was really happening by the way he acted that night. He refused to comply with repeated orders and requests by Sergeant Simpson to either get on the ground, to stay back, to just stay there with your hands behind your back till backup arrived. This defendant, you'll see in the video, he was impeding that. He's delaying it because of his actions. He didn't just do what he was asked to do, which is especially unfortunate since he's former law enforcement. But he did not do what he was supposed to do. That caused the delay. And by his actions, that created a risk of physical harm to Sergeant Simpson. Sergeant Simpson could have been injured in his interaction with this defendant that evening. Now, it's a risk. You don't have to show he was actually physically harmed, but in this case, there was certainly a risk of physical harm to Sergeant Simpson. And again, when you see the video, that will become a little bit more clear. And then resisting arrest, resisting arrest is count 4. Again, same date, location. We have to just show that he recklessly or by force. So he either recklessly, and recklessly is another one of those definitions that it's much more wordy than it needs to be, but we have to show that he was aware of his actions and his decision not to comply with Sergeant Simpson's orders to get on the ground, put his hand behind his back, just stand there with your hands behind your back, with your back to me, not complying with those orders, that he knows that by disregarding that, by not complying, that he was in fact resisting or interfering with his own arrest. So it's kind of a subset in some ways to obstructing official business. He's hampering, he's resisting, he's delaying, he's impeding Sergeant Simpson with, in fact, getting him cuffed. And you'll see that as well when Deputies McClellan and Deputy Easton come. You'll see Deputy McClellan's cruiser cam because he has a different angle to it. So it helps to, and you kind of can hear better because Deputy McClellan's body mic was working that evening. But the fact is, we have to show that he recklessly or by force, refusing to pull his hands out, refusing to roll over, refusing to be cuffed without being forcibly cuffed. That was the only way we got those cuffs on him, that he resisted his own arrest, not another's, but his own arrest.
There's only about 1 minute remaining.
If she's able to prove all that,
And
that's a pretty
lastly
strong
is
case.
the operating a motor vehicle while under the influence, that he did operate his motor vehicle, that he was under the influence of alcohol. We'll again show that to you. That one is one I think we all kind of understand that one basically. But ladies and gentlemen, today and tomorrow, I'm going to engage and ask you to engage in an exercise of reason and logic. Use your common sense. Look at all the evidence. Look at the video. Listen to the testimony. See what is supported by what you see. And apply the law as Judge Oda is going to give it to you, and plug in the evidence to each of those elements, weigh them, and come out with a verdict. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show that he did have loaded firearms in his motor vehicle and on this person while he was under the influence, that he did operate his motor vehicle while he was under the influence, that he did actively resist arrest and impede and hamper and delay Sergeant Simpson's performance of his duties beyond a reasonable doubt, and we ask that you hold him guilty and responsible for what he did on that night of November 9th of 2024. Thank you.
All right. If she's able to prove all
Mr.
that,
Riefers, you may proceed.
he's going to have a tough time getting reasonable doubt into the minds of the jurors.
Thank you guys for being here. Just bear with me, I've never had to do this, so I'm just gonna be open and honest and human with you and go, this is what it is.
You don't have to do it this time either.
So
You
good
could have got a
morning,
lawyer.
my name is Brandon Riefers. I'm representing myself. Before this night, I spent several years in uniform. I was a firefighter and a city cop here in Ohio. Was later a state trooper down in Texas. I worked on Interstate 40, dealing with large amounts of narcotics, done a lot of investigation, worked with DEA, FBI on some white-collar crimes as well. So I know what it means to protect people, to follow procedure, to document evidence. That's what I can tell you. What happened that night to me wasn't just wrong, it broke the rules that every officer swear to uphold. For almost 10 months, I've waited for this moment so you can finally hear my side of the story, not just clips and accusations. This case is about fairness and whether the government followed the rules we all live under. Today, you'll see the whole picture.
This is a good closing.
I want to thank you guys for being here. I know this takes away from your work and family. In this room, you guys are the guardians of fairness. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a son. I'm a father. I'm a fiance, and I'm a man of faith. I have nothing to hide and everything to lose. I trust you with the truth. My training and experience as a Texas State Trooper drilled two things into me. First, you explain the legal basis of any stop. Second, you preserve exculpatory evidence, especially video and chemical tests. I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you to look at the evidence and decide whether those basic rules were followed. On November 9th, 2024, it was a bad day. Feelings were hurt. A 911 call was made. Deputies arrived. I was stopped. And on the deputy's own video, it shows he approaches my vehicle 1 minute and 20 seconds in, because their camera goes back usually a minute or two before recording. As he's approaching, I come up to the stop sign, go to make a left-hand turn. I just tapped the turn signal, saw that he was coming, and waited. Well, then he turned, didn't use turn signal. Well, he goes past me and turns around in the driveway, so I go and just make my turn to take off. Well, as soon as I'm taking off, I make it about 50 feet past the intersection. That's when he activates his lights. Then, as he comes up to the car, We talked for a minute or so, minute and 20 seconds roughly. At 2 minutes and 42 seconds is when I stepped out of the car and my car door shut. At 2 minutes and 48 seconds, the deputy goes to grab my hand. That was 3 seconds after that, then he's calling on the radio, he's got one resisting. All he did is he asked me to get out. He come up to the car, kept my hands up, said, "Hey, I'm a retired trooper," got my secondary weapon, handed my credentials. He asked me to get out. Sorry, back up. First thing he said when he got up to the car was, "Why'd your friends call?" I had just moved back to Ohio. I didn't have any friends in the area. Didn't know what he was talking about. Just simply asked, "What are you stopping me for?" Handed my credentials. In his own report, he put that I punched the windshield. Well, you'll see in the video, there's no movement. I didn't punch the windshield. My hands were on the steering wheel like they always are. When he comes up, we're sitting there talking for a minute. I hand him my credentials. Then he says I make further movement, then I'm just staring straight ahead. You'll see the inconsistencies throughout. All it was is he asked me to get out. I get out and I say, "What'd you stop me for?" That's when he goes to grab my hand. "What are you doing? What's going on here?" That's all I was after. Why am I being stopped? What's going on? That's when he pushes me in the chest, pushes me in my car. I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, what's going on?" And then he's trying to twist my arm and I'm still, why am I stopped? I don't even understand what's going on at this moment. That's when he pulls the taser. I was, all right, fine. I just turn, walk away, put my hands up. We stand there for a few minutes and kind of argue and go over everything. Sorry, my dentures, we got the bottom set out, so it makes it always needing water. All right.
The judge's
While I was up there, in that roughly 10 seconds, that's less than 10 seconds from the moment I shut my car door to being labeled a criminal. No explanation of why I was stopped, no clear reason given, just a rush to force an arrest for obstruction. The law requires cause first, not after. In my experience wearing the badge, you don't go hands-on in 6 seconds without explaining to the person why you even stopped them. That isn't proper police work, and it isn't due process.
I'm going to object just to comment.
Overruled. Go ahead, Mr. Riefers.
Thank you, Your Honor. When a stop or arrest starts unlawfully, it taints what follows. In law, we call that fruit of the poisonous tree. If the root's bad, you can't trust the fruit. You'll see how that first unlawful moment colored everything else. If the tree's poisoned, you don't eat the fruit. And here, every piece of evidence that follows comes from that poisoned start. You'll hear about 40 minutes. 40 minutes. 40 minutes was the first time anyone told me I supposedly hit a car. Ask yourself, if that was the reason, why wasn't that said at the start? Why did the radio say had one resisting at 2 minutes and 52 seconds, but no clear cause until much later? That delay matters because due process matters. You'll hear from the witnesses when they testified. They said at first that they were inside, then they were outside, then they were in the garage when I backed up. They didn't see me hit the car. They heard me brush into the shrubs, leave, and then when I came back, I walked around back to where we all were sitting before, saw Robin, the homeowner. He just said, "Hey, Ashley doesn't want to talk." I said, "Okay, that's fine." I turned around and left. The witness that testified, she also testified, and so did Lindsay, when they made the 911 call, that they were trying to get me to stay there and that I was the one that wanted to leave. Excuse me. All right. So after I leave, that's when we get pulled over. Then we go to the jail, and I'm still this whole time just been trying to ask, even after I got tased, I'm sitting there telling them, "Look, I used to be a taser instructor. I understand the need for it, but the way you went about it just wasn't right." When we were sitting there talking, and he had the taser pointed at me, kept trying to turn around, what are we doing here? Why are we here? What did you stop me for? Like, what's going on? Once I kind of realized he was putting it together that somebody called, figured the date went bad or something, they called, said I'd been drinking, so that's what he was there for. Okay, let's solve this real quick. Let's go do field sobriety. Asked, I saw he had the body mic on. Saw a little red light. Is it recording? Yep. Camera recording on the car? Yep. Let's go to your car and get this on video. So that's what I do. I walk to the car. That's when he approaches me and pushes me in my car. I back up into the car until I'm pinned. I push his hands away. That's when he tases me. I back up, get away, even clearly on video saying, you stay there, I'll stay here, let's wait for these other guys coming. I don't know what's going on. He again approaches me again. That's when he tases me again, knocks me to the ground. As I'm on the ground, he comes up, dry stumps me. Get up from that, I rolled around the ground, I get up from that. Again, I'm walking away. I said, stay there, I'll stay over here, let's wait for other deputies.
A dry stun is point blank.
Third day, you see on video, I'm standing there, hands
Directly
up,
applied
facing
to the
away
skin.
from him. He comes walking up the ass, takes out my leg and knocks me down. I go to the ground, I'm still being attacked, so I'm on my back just going, leave me alone. All is after, just what's going on? Then 40 minutes after it is when they talked about, that's when I supposedly hit this vehicle. Well, the witness testified that it was a white little vehicle. She testified here, she made the statement to the deputies that were there that night. It was a white little vehicle. They were sure of it, nobody saw it. And then Deputy Carter is the one that did the crash report. She wrote it down as a black Jeep, but yet I don't have any photos of this vehicle that I supposedly hit. I backed into the shrubs. I don't remember hitting the car. All I asked for was, give me some photos of the vehicle I hit. I even went back later to the people that owned the car, tried to talk with them, said, hey, you know, did I damage your car? Let me make it right. What can I do? They even signed an affidavit saying there wasn't any damage to the car, and they're holding me harmless.
I'm going to sustain the objection to the affidavit. Jury will disregard that. Go ahead, Mr. Riefers.
So then, all right. Let's see. So then once we get to the jail, I can still continue to request a chemical test. The jail video cuts off at 1:32 a.m., just minutes after I pointed to the camera and said, I hope this is recording. What you see, what you won't see is what comes next. Robert moves me into the holding cell. Then later we come back out into the intake. Again, kept asking for a chemical test. That's when Deputy Roberts called Deputy Simpson, and Simpson refused to come back to the test to administer the chemical test. We've got ways to prove intoxication. You can do field sobriety inside the road. You can do a chemical test, blood, breath, or urine even now. Ohio accepts even urine. He didn't have an untoxified certification, so he couldn't give me the test. He did have a duty to get another deputy that was certified to run the test. They just didn't do that. I made such a big stink at the jail requesting the other two deputies that were sitting there. They even had to write their name down on a little yellow piece of paper. I'm saying my rights are being violated. I'm asking for a test to go. You say I'm intoxicated? We have ways to prove that. Let's do that and get this resolved. They wouldn't do it, so I had them write down their little name. Well, when they wrote down their name, I had requested the open records request beginning in November. I did it again in January, again in May, and then again in open court. I continuously requested the video from 1:30 a.m. till 4 a.m.
Objection, Your
when
Honor.
all of this happened.
Overruled. Go ahead, Mr. Riefers.
Thank you, Your Honor. From my training and experience, both as a city police officer and as a state trooper, I know exactly why the 1:30 to 4 a.m. window matters. It's when a defendant's request, evidence, and rights must be preserved, and that's exactly the moment the cameras went dark. And the missing video isn't the only gap. You'll see the same pattern in the state story detailing, shifting, evidence inconsistent, and pieces that don't fit. The state will rely on a video deposition from Ashley Burns, but her story doesn't match. That night in her fresh statement to deputies, she said I had been drinking, she had been drinking, emotions were high, I had left. We talked about military and police stuff. Months later in the deposition here, the story shifted and now it went to me grabbing her wrist and making her feel uncomfortable. If that were true, why wasn't that her first words in the police that night? You'll be able to compare those words for yourself, side by side with timestamps. You'll see it in your own eyes. First, she said one thing, then later said another. Stories changed, the credibility collapses. You'll also see that Deputy Carter, in her own video, 37 minutes and 42 seconds in, which I'd subpoenaed her, she's apparently unavailable. She's the one that interviewed the witnesses and did the crash report. the crash report that shows the black vehicle, and the diagram is still inaccurate based on Google Photos. At 37 minutes and 42 seconds in, you hear her digging through my car looking for insurance. She's picking things up.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
She's picking things up, and she even asked, has it been photographed? She is told photos still need to be taken, and she says, I'll put all of this back so I won't ruin your photos. When the scene's moved and then photographed, the photos can't be trusted as accurate depictions. That's not technicality, it's basic evidence handling. As you also hear from what the witness, Ashley Burns, that had testified in her video deposition, throughout the evening she had stated I had had 1 to 2 drinks over the lunch period, and then later that evening, 2 to 3 drinks. They also had the same amount. Ashley said she'd even had more than what I'd had. You'll see, going back to the missing records, for months I requested complete jail intake records. On late November, right after the arrest, first request I did, requested all videos. We had Paul Sarver come in and testify that those videos existed
Objection,
at
Your
one
Honor.
point.
I'm going to sustain the objection as to what happened in the previous hearings.
Okay. I'd requested those videos. They'd never been completed or produced to us. I requested the full intake jail videos, recordings in November, January, again in May, here in open court. Yet the state only produced partial videos months later. After announcing that they were ready for trial, you'll see the pattern.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Judge let him go. Wow.
You'll see the pattern. Late, clipped, and incomplete disclosure. When key video is missing while other parts are clipped, that raises doubts you are entitled to consider. Why does the video stop at 1:32 a.m., right after the 1:30 to 4 a.m. window that I've been demanding? That's the very period when I was asking Roberts to call Simpson. That's when the refusal occurred, and that's exactly when the video cuts off. This isn't about whether you like me, it's whether the state proves its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Keep these questions in mind as you watch and listen. Did deputies have a lawful reason to stop and arrest me before calling resisting? Were witnesses consistent, or did their stories change? Was evidence preserved properly, or was it handled and moved before photographs? Was all evidence collected, including the chemical test or the option to have a chemical test to prove if you're drunk or sober? Like, it's a pretty simple process. The presumption of innocence is not a slogan. It's a starting point. It never moves. If the state's case is puzzled with missing or switched pieces, the law requires a verdict of not guilty. That protects every person in this courtroom, including you and your families. Ask yourself, when a man asks for a test to prove his innocence and the state's own evidence shows he demanded it, but the test is denied, is that justice? When the camera cuts out exactly when the request is made, is that fair? The law requires truth, not shortcuts. That's why your duty is clear. When you see the full picture, you'll see the case is built on sand, rushed decisions, shifting stories, mishandled evidence, and missing pieces. The law doesn't let the state skip steps just because they think they already know the answer. Fairness means rules are followed every time for every person. The law doesn't bend for convenience. It applies equally to me and you. I'm not asking for sympathy, I'm asking for fairness. I follow the law. I asked for the test, and the evidence is missing. That's not justice, and that's why the only fair verdict is not guilty. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to just remind you of this again. You've heard from both sides what they think the facts are going to show. You've also heard some from each side about what they think the law is going to be. I'm going to remind you, evidence and law does not come from the podium. Evidence comes from the witness chair. Law comes from this chair. You're going to get all of that actually starting now. So, Ms. Hyatt, go ahead and call your first witness.
We would call Lindsay Davis.
Here comes the dirt. This is the date, right? I'm guessing if he's a fiance now, it's not to her. That's I'm pretty sure they're not currently engaged. I wonder if he's going to bring it up. He's like, did you know that I'm engaged now and I'm happily engaged and you missed out on that? No. She's not available? What? He's doing okay. He does have that gentleman behind him there advising him on legal matters. We believe he's an attorney. So it would be considered standby counsel with a pro se defendant. So the attorney can't do anything for him, is not making arguments, not making decisions. But if he turns back and says, to Your Honor, hey, Judge, can I consult for a minute? The judge says yes, he talks to him, then he makes a decision. Still would have been better to have a lawyer here. We have a witness in the bathroom? I don't know. Just poor timing. Reluctant, maybe? She gone. She gone. No, I think she's coming. Where are the bailiffs in this courtroom? There she is.
Still right up there.
The testimony of this proceedings to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes.
I do.
Sorry, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record and spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
My name is Lindsay Davis, Lindsay Davis.
And Lindsay, can you tell us or tell the jury, please, what's your occupation?
I'm a systems engineer.
And what did you have to do to become a systems engineer?
So I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Chemical Engineering in 2015. And then to become a systems engineer, I had to learn the basics of every engineering discipline necessary to design a jet engine. And I'm working on a doctorate of engineering and systems engineering, which means that I have to demonstrate complex application of engineering rather than just write a paper about it.
She's smarter than me.
Right.
Let me just put that out there right now.
Do you work for a company or are you employed right now?
Yes, so I work for Edison Works at GE Aerospace, so I work for their military division designing jet aircraft engines.
How long have you been there?
I've been with GE about 4 months now.
4 months, okay. And then did you have any prior employment before that?
Yes, so I worked for the University of Dayton Research Institute for the majority of my career as a chemical systems engineer, so doing some of the same thing except designing chemical refining processes and coding applications for United States Air Force aircraft.
She's a smart
Okay,
cookie.
and that's why I'm not an engineer. So I just want to say that just for the record. And are you married?
I am.
Okay, and who's your husband?
My husband is Robin Davis Jr.
And where did you meet?
We met in college at West Virginia University Institute of Technology in 2011.
And do you have a child?
I do.
And
is he also an
boy
engineer?
or girl, just for the record?
Girl, Charlotte Davis.
She's an engineer.
How old is she?
She just turned 2 in July.
She's a mini engineer.
Now, just for the record too, you know Ashley Burns as well?
Yes.
All right.
Ashley was the date.
Is that also from college? When did you go to college together with her as well?
Yes, we attended the same university. She was, I think it's technically a year behind me, but we met because I was a resident assistant with the university, and she obviously lived in the residence halls, but we are also sisters from the same sorority.
Okay, and how long have you known Ashley?
About 13 years now.
Great. Now, are you acquainted with somebody known as Brandon Riefers?
Yes.
Do you see Brandon Riefers in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you just point him out and describe what he's wearing in court today?
He is over there wearing a light blue collared shirt.
For the record, indicating the defendant, Your Honor.
Noted.
And how many times had you met Mr. Riefers? Because we're going to be talking about November 9th of last year, which is when you called 911. How many times before that had you met Mr. Riefers?
Before that, I had not met him.
Okay, so on November 9th was the first time you met him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm going to just tell you that was a Saturday because I don't expect you to know that. But can you just tell us like the situation a little bit? Explain to the jury just starting that day. First of all, was Ashley present in your residence that day?
Yes. So Ashley and I have known each other for 13 years. Since I graduated college, my husband and I have not necessarily lived near any of my sorority sisters. So when we moved back up to the Cincinnati area, we made it a point, or make it a point rather, to see our friends and see our family. And that includes Ashley. She lives in Columbus, so we invited her down for the weekend because it was a long holiday weekend, Veterans Day weekend. So we had invited her over to stay the night. I believe she arrived Friday night, and she would have left Monday morning like she usually does when she comes down for a long weekend.
How did Mr. Riefers fit into your plans for that weekend?
So Ashley had told me that she had met someone, and she had started talking to a man. She was on the dating scene, and she said that she was very interested in him and that he seemed like a good fit, and that she wanted my husband and I to meet him. We don't typically meet a lot of her boyfriends, at least not that early, just because she has a tendency to be a very private person, but she said that she thought he might be a little different. And we went to college, so we knew a lot of her boyfriends just because we went to university with only 1,100 people. You're running into them. So she said that she wanted us to meet him since he was lived, she told us, in Middletown, so between her and us, and kind of just get an outsider's perspective on what he was like and if they might be a good match and if it was a relationship worth her time pursuing.
Emma Brett, welcome
so
to the gallery.
Saturday, November 9th, when would have been the first time then, let me start over. As far as the first time you were going to meet Mr. Riefers, where was that going to happen at?
She asked if we would meet him that Saturday on the 9th. She asked if he could spend the day with us. We had planned to maybe do some shopping at Christmas markets and things like that since, early November and getting to be about that season. We talked about maybe going to a brewery for lunch, so she asked if he could come and spend time with us. And we agreed. We said that would be fine. And she invited him to come meet at our house at about 10 a.m.
And what's the address of your house?
5539.
123 Sesame Street.
Is that in fact in like Deerfield Township, Warren County?
So the whole township thing confuses me a little bit, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I grew up in Northern Virginia where we didn't have that.
Okay.
So it depends on what piece of paperwork I'm looking at.
All right. Was it Warren County at least?
Warren County, yes.
You are in Warren County?
I do know that for sure.
How long have you been living there?
We moved in October of 2021, so that puts us at 4 years next month?
4 years, okay. And is that like a single ranch, 2-story, or something else?
So it's a 3-story. It looks like only 2 from the outside, but it has a basement. It is 3 bedrooms.
How many square feet?
3 bedroom, 3 bath.
Bedrooms, bath.
And approximately what time would Mr. Riefers have arrived at your house there?
He was pretty punctual. He arrived at about 10.
Is it bigger on the
And
inside
did you
than
see
on
what
the
kind of
outside?
motor vehicle he was driving?
Yes, he was driving a white Toyota Highlander, which I commented on because I drive a black Toyota Highlander.
Oh, okay, there you are. And
Complete opposite.
just kind of tell the jury just kind of what happened. Walk us through that morning into the afternoon.
Okay. So as I said, he showed up at about 10 a.m. We all chatted and decided we wanted to go to the Christmas markets in Sharonville, the Sharonville Convention Center. It seemed really popular online, and I'm a big Christmas market person, so we all agreed to go. After we spent about, I think we left around 10:30 because I had to get my daughter all together, and not a quick thing to get a child ready to go out the door.
Truth.
So we left about 10:30, and then we drove over to the Sharonville Convention Center, realized that the line wrapped around the building. So Ashley actually called from Mr. Riefers' car and said, "Did you realize it would be this busy?" And I said, "No." And we all said, "Well, let's go find something else. Like, we don't really want to wait in that big old line." So we ended up going to the Entertainment Junction, which you could see from, I think it's 75, because they were having a similar little Christmas market. It was just much smaller. So we left Sharonville and then ended up at Entertainment. If I had to guess, I'd say probably around noon, just with all that commute time, because Sharonville was busy with that convention center. So went to Entertainment Junction and walked around that Christmas market for a bit, and then decided we were hungry, so we decided to go to the 50 West Brewing, since it had recently opened, and it's quite close to my my house, my husband and I's house. So we went there and actually decided to stay there for a while because they had a large sand pit. So my daughter got to play, and we ordered drinks and wings and a hummus plates, just like finger foods for lunch type thing.
Let me ask
Fried
you too,
mozzarella?
when you left, when you first met Mr. Riefers that morning at your house, and throughout that morning, what was your first impression of him?
He was very, very kind and gentlemanly. My first impression was that he seemed off the bat like a decent fit for Ashley. Ashley's she's very independent. She's very strong-willed. So I think it takes a special man to be able to be with her, and he seemed like he might be able to be that kind of person for her. We chatted and got to know him a little bit. He said he was from Texas, and my husband loved Texas when he lived there, so they kind of hit it off. And my husband and I, naturally in the car on the way, talked about Mr. Riefers a bit. And I said, he seems like a really, really nice guy. I'm excited to get to know him a little bit more through the day, and excited to get to know him over lunch. So first impression was that he was just a good citizen. He had mentioned that he had been a police officer but had a significant accident, so was required to stop his profession. So it reminded me a little bit of my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is a retired police officer. So we kind of talked about that a little bit, and I said, he seems a lot like Dave. Like, he's got a very strong sense of, this is what I want to do and who I want to be kind of thing.
And when you left the house and throughout that morning into the afternoon going to 50 West, I'm assuming you all weren't in the same car since you were talking about Mr. Riefers.
Yeah, no. Ashley drove with Mr. Riefers, and my husband and I and my daughter all drove together.
Okay. And at 50 West, you said you had drinks. Did any of that alcoholic drinks at all?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of alcoholic drinks were being consumed at 50 West?
So it was a type of fruity sour that was good. My husband and I have a deal that if one of us drinks when we have our daughter, that the other doesn't. So the other remains stone cold sober. So he didn't really drink anything, but he had a gastric bypass surgery, so he can't drink a lot anyway. And he wanted his chicken wings instead of anything else, so he was eating. And then I believe Ashley and Mr. Riefers had just regular beers of some kind.
All right. Do you know how many beers you consumed at 50 West?
So I consumed 2. 3 were purchased for me, but I did not drink the last one. I'm very wary of consuming too much alcohol around my daughter. I don't get drunk quickly. I'm a large woman. I don't get drunk quickly, but it's still, I would rather be overcautious in that instance.
And did you observe how many alcoholic beverages or beers Ashley and Mr. Riefers consumed at 50 West?
Each of them had at least 2.
At least 2, okay.
2 beers.
And about how long, or did you leave? I'm assuming you left 50 West at one point. Do you approximately know what time that afternoon you left 50 West?
It would have been, I think, around 3, because Charlotte would have gone down for her nap at that age, around 3:30 to 4.
And where do you all head?
We went home. So we went back to the house. We invited Mr. Riefers to stay for dinner. My husband had rendered some beef tallow, so he wanted to make homemade French fries, and we said we'd do smash burgers on the grill. And
good.
we invited everyone to stay for dinner. Ashley and Mr. Riefers went to the liquor store to pick up a bottle of bourbon. My husband and Ashley are both bourbon aficionados. So Mr. Riefers offered to go pick up a bottle
I thought your
just for
husband
us all
couldn't
to
drink.
share through the evening, kind of dinner and drinks type thing.
All right. And is that in fact what happened?
Yes.
All right. Who was doing, I guess, walk us through, at your house, are you all together the entire time, or are there times throughout the evening that you're not like a group all with each other?
So for the most part, we were all together. At times, we kind of fractured off. My husband was outside cooking, and at one point, Mr. Riefers had joined him outside. And Ashley and I were inside kind of prepping everything. So my husband's job typically is kind of the mains, and then he was going to do the fries, and I'm doing all the vegetables, cutting up tomatoes, lettuce, onions, whatever it may be. And then I had I had the watch, so to speak, of our daughter, so had the monitor, keeping an eye on her, and Ashley kept me company while we did that. But for the most part, we were all together, or at least all in each other's line of sight. My kitchen overlooks my backyard, and then I have kind of a bay window situation there, so I can see everything.
Like koi ponds. What
And
do you got back there?
is the backyard where the grill is, where they're
Yes.
going to be making the hamburgers? Okay. And at this point at your house, I know you said that Robin, your husband, and Ashley are bourbon aficionados. Was there any alcoholic beverages being consumed at your residence?
Yes, so my husband had a drink, and then Mr. Riefers and Ashley both had a drink, and because I'd had the beers at the brewery, you know, and like I said, my husband and I have an agreement, one drinks, the other doesn't, so I didn't drink.
I'm sorry, what was the last part of that?
My husband and I have the agreement where one of us drinks and the other doesn't, so I didn't have any, maybe a sip of my husband's drink, but not my own.
And what kind of drinks are we talking? Like straight
Doesn't count
bourbon,
if
or are we
somebody
talking
else's.
about something different?
Bourbon and old fashions. My husband's an old fashioned guy.
All right. And are we consuming the bourbon strictly out of the bottle that you indicated Mr. Riefers had bought, or were other bottles being used?
So there were a grand total of 3. So it was the bottle Mr. Riefers had bought, which, if I'm not mistaken, was Weller, and then my husband had a different Weller, a slightly less aged Weller, and then Ashley had. She is a fan of one. So it's a name with a horse, 4 horses or something. Sorry, I'm not good with bourbon names. But she particularly likes that one, and my husband had it downstairs, so he brought it up for her. She was the only one drinking that one, though, and my husband was drinking his Weller.
All right. And Mr. Riefers, was he drinking your husband's Weller or his own Weller?
His own.
His own. Okay. And do you all have dinner?
Yes, so we had dinner, had burgers and fries. Charlotte had woken up, so she, at that point, would have been only 14, 15 months old, so she doesn't stay up very long past dinner. So we put her down to bed at about 7. My husband, we have a 4-season sunroom that has a wood stove in it, so he had gone out to light a fire because we said we could go out in the sunroom and just sit around and have a nightcap and chat a bit and have the fire. So once I got Charlotte down, we all went out into the sunroom and sat around the cozy fire for a bit and had a couple more drinks.
Okay. And approximately what time is this that Charlotte has not gone down for her bedtime and you're back out in the sunroom area?
She would have gone down between 7 and 7:30. Probably closer to 7:30 at that age.
And were you, in fact, in the sunroom with Mr. Riefers?
Yes.
All right. And were you consuming any more bourbon, alcohol, or drinks in the sunroom after dinner?
To my recollection, I did not have any more alcohol at that point. My husband was drinking, and Charlotte overnight tends to be more my responsibility, just because he's a heavy sleeper, so it's easier for me. So I was keeping an ear out for her.
Were you observing whether or not Mr. Riefers was continuing to have any further like alcoholic drinks in the sunroom?
Yes. So just for I personally keep an eye on everyone who drinks. I want to make sure that everyone gets home safe and that everyone's behaving safely, especially with a fire, in the room. So him and Ashley each had a couple more drinks.
All right. And is he still drinking out of his Weller bottle and Ashley's drinking out of her bourbon bottle?
Yes, as far as I'm aware.
And did you notice anything about the defendant's demeanor as the evening progressed in the sunroom?
Yes. So earlier in the day when we had met him, he'd been kind of more reserved. He was friendly, but kind of that you could tell someone's kind of holding something back and be professional, almost is what I'll call it. But as the evening wore on and he was drinking more, he was loosening up and reminding me of someone who was inebriated. I had a set of paintings out in the sunroom. I like to paint in my spare time, and I had a canvas that's a big. And it's an abstract work. It's got pinks and blues and greens. And he was commenting on it, and he was very fixated on this painting. And it reminded me very much of when my sorority sisters, if they drank, it became very fixated on something that they see, and that's just what your brain does when you're intoxicated.
It's so beautiful.
So he was remarking on the painting and remarking that he wanted to buy it, and I was brushing it off a bit, saying, it's not really finished. And he said, no, I would pay a lot of money for that. And I'm like, that's not really worth anything. I mean, I think it's worth something because I created it, and that's very kind of you to say, but he was hyper fixated on it to the point that I kind of turned to my husband and joked like, oh yeah, he's feeling the alcohol at this point.
Objection relevance.
But he was still very, very friendly up until that point.
All right, so very friendly up to that point, then how did it change?
Not long after that, there was kind of an energy shift. He seemed a little bit, we were joking and everything, and at some point he became a little more withdrawn. My husband had gotten up to, he'd went in the house to get something, I don't know, it wasn't a drink, but I think he wanted a snack. And Ashley and Mr. Riefers started having a very whispered argument. So it was a bit awkward. And then Mr. Riefers got up and went inside and followed my husband and mentioned he was going to get another drink. And Ashley had said that he was starting to act a little bit weird, and picking a fight with her. And I said, well, that's a little strange. And so the gentleman came back at that point and we sat, and they had left it. My husband had gone inside and said that he was going to go get something. He didn't tell me what, and Mr. Riefers was becoming more and more agitated. And she leaned over and whispered to me and said, please don't leave me alone. And I said, okay, duly noted, message received, loud and clear. Ashley is not one, I mean, she's prior military, and she's very much fits that stereotype. So if she is unnerved, then that is something that I take incredibly seriously. So I did not leave her alone at that point. I stayed with her, and I told her that I needed her help in the kitchen with something. So she followed me, and Mr. Riefers stayed behind in the sunroom. And when we went in the house, she said that he was arguing with her something about that she was being a tease because she wouldn't sleep with him, and that he wanted her, and she was supposed to want him back. And if she didn't want him back like this, then she didn't really truly want to be in a relationship with him. And I remember asking her, I said, you've known each other for like 2 weeks. What is that? And she said, I have no idea. We haven't really broached this before. And I said, okay, well I think he's had enough, to drink. And I said, I would want to offer him, I don't want him to drive because he's clearly intoxicated enough if this is the conversation that he's taking, the attitude he's taking, which is in direct opposition to the attitude he had earlier in the day. And then just seeing how much he had drunk, I believe that he was under the influence. Certainly under the influence enough he should not have been driving. And I said, well, offer him, he can sleep it off on the couch. He can, I'll gladly call him a taxi or an Uber, whatever he needs. And at that point, my husband came down up the stairs from the basement. And I remember saying, what were you doing in the basement? And he told me to never mind, and I told him, kind of caught him up to speed, and I said, that's what I want to do. And he said, okay, that's fine with me. He said, I prefer that we call a taxi or an Uber or something if that's the way he's behaving. I don't want him to sleep in our house since, we just met him that day. I said, fair enough. So we went back out to the sunroom, and Mr. Riefers was much more agitated, and he had a bag, and he was roughly packing up his bag and storming out, saying something to Ashley that I couldn't quite make out. And we had the garage open just for the airflow since we had the fire going. And he stormed out of the garage, and I said, we'll call you a taxi or an Uber or whatever it is that you need. And he was yelling at Ashley and saying that he didn't need this, and was just being very aggressive towards her. And she tried to follow him to take his keys. Because at that point, it was clear that he should not be driving. And he got into his car, and he got into the driver's side, and she opened the passenger door to try and talk to him to say, like, please, and she said, please don't drive. You're not fit to drive. And he started to back out of the driveway and hit her with the car door because she still had it open, which at that point she closed it. I told her, back off. It's unsafe for you at this point. He backed up, and our driveway is shaped kind of like a Y. So if this is our house, this is our neighbor's house, and then we pipe stem and share a driveway. So it's easy to get in there. When he backed up out of our driveway and into theirs and hit their car and then sped off down our driveway and out to the street. And at that point, Ashley, Rob, and I are looking together like, what just happened? And I said, I think we need to go inside and look up the non-emergency number for Warren County, which in retrospect, I probably should have called the emergency number for a drunk driver. But I said we need to look up the number because if he's going to drive while intoxicated, that's not not something I want on my conscience or anybody else's conscience. I don't want him to hurt somebody inadvertently. So at that point, we just locked up the house, put down the garage, and then he started calling Ashley repeatedly, like incessantly. I think she ignored it the first couple of times, and then she answered, and I didn't hear his side of the conversation. I only heard hers. She didn't have it on speaker. But she turned to me and she said, "You don't need to come back here. Not if that's behaved the way you're going to behave, then I don't want anything to do with you." And she looked at me and she said, "Is he allowed back in the house?" And I said, "No. At this point, no. It's not something I'm comfortable with. People who are intoxicated are unpredictable. I don't know him well enough. I know my husband, I know my sorority sister well enough that if they become intoxicated, I can kind of know what they're going to do. I don't know this man." And he was acting very aggressive and storming out, and he hit you with a car. So no, I'm not comfortable with him coming back in my house. And she told him that. She said, "You were not welcome back here." And at that point, we were all in the way my kitchen is organized, we have 2 chairs in our kitchen, kind of like a sitting breakfast nook area. So we were sitting there. And she had hung up with Mr. Riefers, and we were all just bewildered, staring at each other.
Let me ask you, I'm going to back you up just a little bit.
Okay.
When he was still inside your house, I know you said there was a real change in his demeanor. He was getting very agitated and angry. Did you notice any slurring of words while he was inside your house?
Not a severe slurring, no.
Okay.
Minor, but for the most part, he was whispering at Ashley, not actually talking directly at me and my husband.
And I know when you said that he was backing out of your driveway, let's show you States Exhibit 1. I know this isn't exactly to sketch, but do you recognize what that is?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
and
my
for the
driveway.
record, what is that?
That's my driveway and how it connects to my neighbor's house as well.
Okay, if I can publish that, Your Honor. I just wanted
Objection, Your Honor.
I think the only...
Hold on.
Objection on the submission of the crash report. I've been requesting for months an updated crash report.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to show you States Exhibit 1. Can you kind of
Yay, we get
just
to
show
see
us, like, this street here, is that the street that you live on?
Not
quite. So we have that Y, but that road that you have labeled as Old Farm Drive there, that's still my driveway. Okay. So our driveway is like a full, if you just think the full letter Y. So then at the end of that little street, so like right after the E there, I would cut it off, and that's Old Farm Drive. So we kind of tee
point
in
out where Old Farm Drive is on that sketch.
Just draw the road across the top,
Oh, do I
left to
just
right.
touch this?
Should be able to touch the screen.
Oh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah,
there it is.
so like
There it is.
you do this.
That's Old Farm.
This is Old Farm. And it goes kind of...
So it's
Like
running perpendicular to what is
OF.
listed on the
Not
sketch?
OnlyFans.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's
And
Old
so
Farm.
the
Or
Y
OnlyFans Drive.
that's at the bottom of States Exhibit 1, what's that supposed to be representing, if you know? I mean, does that, well, let me put it this way. Where is your driveway in States Exhibit 1?
Okay, so this here is solely ours.
Okay.
And this is solely our neighbors.
Okay.
And then we share this pipe stem here.
I see. So you have 2 driveways coming to one driveway to Old
She
Farm
didn't know this
Drive.
before.
Yes.
Okay, so now I understand what that's supposed to be. Okay, so do you remember, was there more than one motor vehicle in your neighbor's driveway? If
Yes.
you remember. There was, how many do you recall?
2.
2. Okay, do you remember the colors of the motor vehicles?
Yes, so their primary vehicle, they had just gotten it, I think about 2 weeks before, it was a black Jeep Wagoneer.
Okay.
And that was the one that Mr. Riefers hit.
And what was the color of the other one?
The other one is it's white, like a white sedan.
Now, when you see Mr. Riefers backing down your driveway, where's the bush? Can you point out where the bush would be, just so we have an idea
Right
approximately?
here. There's actually a transformer
The bush is in the middle.
there with the bush.
Okay, so one that's like low to the ground?
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
Okay, and so he backs and he kind of hits that bush and then backs. Is that accurate here? Just so I
Yes.
know. This part here about how he backed out and kind of hit.
Yes, that's accurate. And he hit that, the corner of the Jeep Wagoneer, which would be the driver's side rear corner.
Okay. And did you actually go and see the damage later on?
We did look for it. Mostly because we were mortified because they just bought it, and they are very kind, and they had just moved into the house and have small kids. But we did look for the damage. We couldn't quite see it in the dark just because it's a black car.
And approximately what time of night do you call when he left your house?
I think it was between 10 and 11, probably closer to 11.
Okay. Now, you indicated that he kept calling and was told not to come back. Did he, in fact, return to your house?
Yes. So we had told him not to come back, and we were still looking for, at that point, the non-emergency line because I wanted to call the police to report a drunk driver. And at that point, we heard banging at the front door. We opened the camera, and it was him banging on the door and trying to open the front door. And at that point, I got scared because he was throwing his weight at my door. And so I called 911. And my husband, it turned out, my husband said that he had a gun in the back of his pants because Mr. Riefers' earlier aggressive behavior had made him so nervous that when he went inside, he had gotten a weapon just in case.
Okay. Do you see your husband do that, or is he just telling you this?
He showed me the weapon.
Okay. Your husband did?
Yes.
Okay. So your husband went and got a weapon when Mr. Riefers came back. Did anyone else arm themselves?
Yes. So my husband, when Mr. Riefers was banging on the door, and that scared us. And so I mentioned we were in that kitchen area, and I had a front door camera, so I looked at it. And then we heard something in the backyard, so we looked, and it was Mr. Riefers who had jumped my fence and was coming towards the backyard. And so Ashley and I shot up out of the chairs, and my husband said to get upstairs, and so we ran upstairs. I have a weapon in my home, and my husband has a handgun that we both keep in the topmost drawer of our tallest dresser by our beds. So we each got a weapon, and Ashley stood in the door of my bedroom, and I stood at my daughter's door.
So you and Ashley each got one of your weapons?
Yes.
Okay.
I got my handgun, and I gave her my husband's handgun.
And is that when you're calling 911?
Yes.
Okay. And you've heard the 911 call?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that a fair and accurate copy of the 911 call as you recall it that evening?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I would like to play State's Exhibit 2.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got an exhibit that we have to play that requires some audio, so we're going to have to take a break, get that set up. So Ms. Carrillo is going to take you out. It's going to be a short break, maybe no more than 8 minutes.
Judge has a Werther's in his mouth.
Go. Okay, sorry.
Judge is mad at prosecution now. He wants the break. He says, you need to go so we can get set up. She's like, oh, I'm actually ready. That was my excuse. That was my excuse. This is funny. They at one point they said they were going to start on Wednesday. I think they just misspoke. It'll be today and tomorrow. Out goes the jury.
All right, let's take a break. Be back in 5 minutes. Ma'am, you can step down.
Okay. Do I just stay in the room?
You can come down.
Do I just stay in the room?
No, just don't talk about your testimony with anybody.
Judge is like, look, I need the break. Okay. All right. How's it going so far? On a scale of 1 to none. It's interesting. You have a joke counter. Law and laughs. I'm going to count that one where the judge says that they need to take a break to get the equipment set up. And it was totally for him, and he was using them as cover. But judge has to pee. So her testimony is going to be all day. This is the problem. You run into this problem. What's going on? Where are people going? Where's the defendant? It's hot in here. I guess the prosecutor's talking to the gallery now. The officer there is unhiding phone calls from before December 24th. If you watched yesterday, you know that reference. Do a little pit check. Do a smell-fee. Yeah, okay, we're all good. We're all good. All right. This is an interesting case. This defendant I think he has a winnable case, but I don't think he'll be able to do it. I don't think he's going to get there pro se. We saw during his open, we saw during the voir dire, he's got that one issue he wants to hit. And he's mad as heck, and he's not going to take it anymore, and he just wants to explain it to everybody. And once they hear, they'll understand. They'll see. It's not how it works. That's not the right way. He's not going to get the evidence in that way. It's not going to happen. He's trying to bring everything in that he wants in, and the judge will not allow him to bring in some of the parts that he really wants to say that make the state look bad. And unfortunately, the state has the benefit of being able to say, you know, here's the law, and here are your actions, and you're pretty much admitting to it. You know, you were given a lawful order, and you're like, well, I need to know why, and didn't comply. Well, there's your resisting arrest. You know, you laid on your hands instead of putting behind your back. There's a resisting arrest. Christy Terry, welcome to the gallery. Christy, it is wonderful to have you with us. I probably should have told you this before you joined, but you can never leave now. You're one of us. You won't want to, though. They're surrounded by friends. It's great. You should have a lawyer. Honestly, here, a couple things. First of all, if he had a lawyer, he probably would be in a better situation right now, because a good lawyer would be able to, through the pretrial motions and motions in limine, exclude some of the evidence or limit some of the evidence that might be used against him. Okay, because he came close. There were some items of evidence that came up that were like, you know, a good lawyer could get something done here and know what to ask the judge to get something excluded. He didn't. He just wants to say his piece, and you know, that's it. A good lawyer probably would have done a little bit more work on the jury selection and asked some more questions. Both sides pretty much failed on voir dire. But hey, little Larry, how are you doing? You going on a bike ride? Okay. I don't have it. I don't know. Sorry. Mr. Fiddle, welcome to the gallery.
Ready for a jury?
We're ready for the jury. We followed pretrial yesterday in this case, which was interesting. The officer there,
when they come in, it's nice to stand. Yeah.
The officer next to the prosecutor was on the stand, and it was quite insightful.
Oh, that a long order.
Or Debbie's.
Jax, I agree. We didn't know all these facts before. There's some pretty hefty facts against him. I think he's got an uphill battle here. Jennifer Cockfield gifted a membership. Linda B., congratulations, you're the recipient. It was Little Miss R.A. Francis Fitzgerald also gifted a membership. Thank you for your generosity. Jay's Girl. It's all yours.
You may be seated.
Jury's back. Continue where we left off.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Hyatt.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would be Plain States Exhibit 2 for the record.
I'm going to try to clean up as much as I can.
Warren County Dispatch, Stephanie. Hello, my name is Lindsay Davis. I live at 5539 Old Farm Drive, Houston, Ohio, and there's a man who left my house drunk, and he was trying to get back into my house forcefully. Okay, do you know this male? I do. He's a friend of a friend, but we just met him for the first time today, so, I don't know him well. What's his name? Brandon, B-R-A-N-D-A-N. Brandon? Riefers, R-I-E-F-E-R-S. And he holds a Texas State Trooper commission. He works for the Texas State Trooper? Yes, he still has an active commission with the Texas State Troopers. Okay. What is he driving in case he leaves? It's a white Toyota Highlander. Okay, and was he... I'm sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, he did hit the neighbor's car. backing out of our driveway the first time, and he ran, and we were going to leave him a note with his information, but came on calling.
Okay. And was he like aggressive or like inappropriate in any way earlier that you guys don't want him there, or do you still know him well?
He's verbally aggressive, and I just don't know him well enough to leave in my backyard now.
Okay. And what is he wearing in case he runs?
He's wearing a polo shirt and jeans.
Is he white, black, Asian, Hispanic?
White beard with black and gray hair.
Okay. And I know you said he was intoxicated. Any drugs or weapons?
I don't think drugs are unknown on weapons.
Okay. And Lindsay, are you there alone, or do you have anyone there with you?
No, I have one other woman, a child, and my husband.
Okay.
And the safe alarm is going off. I don't know if that connects to y'all or not.
It hasn't yet, unless your alarm company calls it in. But what alarm was that?
Simply Safe.
Okay, like a residential alarm, like one of your doors.
Yeah, one of the doors.
Okay.
My husband said he's pulling out of the driveway.
Yeah, was pulling out of the driveway. You guys weren't able to see a license plate, were you?
Do we have anything on license plate? Do we have a license plate? Huh? We couldn't see it.
Okay.
He went towards Snyder Road. And he was heavily intoxicated. We tried to stop him from leaving, but he about hit my friend with the car. So.
Oh gosh, okay. Okay. And Lindsay, what's the phone number you're calling from?
Phone number
867-5309.
43.
I do have officers en route to you. They should be there shortly. If he happens to swing back by, give us a call and let us know. But we'll have them kind of look the area too. So if they're not with you here just shortly, they'll probably driving around looking for his vehicle. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
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 All right. The audio was
Appears to be
clipped
the complete call
really
from that
badly.
evening.
Yes, ma'am.
And you indicated on that call that you were trying for him not to leave. What did you mean by that?
Because of his drunk driving, we were trying to keep him from driving away. Like when he initially had left our house, we had tried to say, like, we'll call you an Uber, we'll call you a taxi. It was that we didn't want him driving drunk.
So when he returned that, after he had left the first time, are you saying that you didn't want him to leave your house?
No, I did at that point.
Okay.
On the 911 call I met, we didn't want him to leave. It was before he got in the car and drove off the first time. We had wanted him to not drive while under the influence. After he had left, like that point, I wanted him gone. I didn't want him to come back. At that point, the aggression combined with the clear intoxication, he became a threat.
Okay. And I know you said that you had firearms in your bedroom and all that. Are you familiar with firearms?
Yes, my father is a United States Marine. I've been trained to use firearms from a young age, and I had a concealed carry permit when I lived in the state of Georgia.
And during that 911 call, sounds like he did leave and head towards Snyder Road. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does he come back to your house after that?
No.
Okay. And it sounded like Ashley was in the background and also your husband, Robin?
Yes.
Okay. After he left your house that second time, then did Sheriff's Office eventually come to your residence and speak with you?
They did.
Okay, the three of you?
They did it. It took a while, and I remember we commented to each other, oh, they must have found him at the sheriff's office, taking a while because they said that would happen. But we said we were also sitting there hoping, saying to each other, hopefully it's that they got him and he doesn't come back before the sheriff's office gets here.
And do you just give them a verbal statement as to what happened that day?
Gave them a verbal statement and let them know that we have a ring camera that records movement. So we had emailed them the recording of that.
All right, and who downloaded that recording and sent it to the sheriff's office?
I did.
Okay, just give me 1 second. You know what, I'm gonna play, if I may. Have you seen the ring, Simply Safe, I call it Ring door camera, but I guess it's really not true. It's Simply Safe's door camera.
Yeah, so we bought the house, they had a Simply Safe alarm system installed.
Okay, and have you had a chance to review that doorbell video?
Yes.
And is that a true and accurate copy of what was on your doorbell video that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, just for the record, I'm going to play State's Exhibit 27.
Hope we get to see this one.
Objection, Your Honor. Is this the Ring camera?
It's the doorbell camera, correct?
This is the one that she had emailed on and said she wasn't
Objection, Your
gonna
Honor,
use
as to
it.
what we talked about.
Hold on, approach, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a sidebar. If you want to get up, stretch out, move around, feel free to do that.
Okay, we're going to go in black. Okay, we'll wait while they have the sidebar. He's objected twice now, both to exhibits. But there have been so many more objections that could have been made thus far. But we are, fingers crossed, hopefully be able to see this one. It was overruled.
All right, the objection is overruled. Go ahead, Ms. Hyatt.
Thank you.
What's the exhibit number?
27, Your Honor.
27, we got a lot of exhibits. Come on, flip the switch, Judge. Let us see, please. Please.
For the record, this is your front door?
Yes.
Is he wearing a badge? Is that a Texas badge? This is him throwing his body weight on the door. What's in that little bottle? Oh, it's a vape. Big step.
And is that a complete copy of what you sent to the sheriff's office?
That is what I sent to the sheriff's office. I didn't catch, for whatever reason, the recording didn't catch everything that had happened.
Like him
When you
throwing
mean
his
everything
body
that
weight on the
happened,
door.
what portion, what time period are we talking about?
Soon after, we had heard him shoving against the door with his body weight. We watched it on the camera as it was happening. And for whatever reason, the camera itself didn't record that portion of it.
Simply Safe, not
And
like
it
in
was
this
after
testimony.
he tried to ring the doorbell nicely, and then it got aggressive.
Okay, so inside it sounded like he was shoving onto the door? Okay. Yep, I just have to say yes or no for the record.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So he knocked.
But in the ring,
called.
in the doorbell camera, we don't see him like shoving into the door.
Correct.
You're saying, okay.
It was ringing the doorbell doesn't threaten. We didn't want him there when he started shoving on the door. That was the problem that we had. That was
So he
at that point
shoved
you're trying to
first,
forcibly enter my home.
And then he knocked
And he didn't
politely and
return
tried
to
to
your front
call.
door after that, is that correct?
Correct. At that point, we saw him in the backyard.
Your Honor, that is all I have, thank you.
Okay, here we go.
Mr. Riefers, you may inquire.
Cross.
Thank you,
Good
Your
luck.
Honor.
That water's gonna spill. I know it's going all over the Elmo.
On that Ring camera, you said after that I didn't come back to the front door, correct?
After you had left the second time, you did not come back to the front door.
That's when I came back, and then I went around to the back after that.
You had that incident. After that, you forcefully tried to enter the front door. And then after that, you went through the back door, or attempted to.
That's what you're referring to, is when I knocked on the door?
You knocked on the door, you left, you returned and tried to forcefully enter my front door, and then you tried to go to my backyard and forcefully enter my home through the back door.
Okay, so that we're clear, you just said earlier that you guys were all in the garage when I left the first time. You said that I hit Ashley with the car. Then you also made a statement when you talked with Deputy Hale that, and Ashley stated, almost hit the passenger door. But now you're telling me there was another time that I came back after that?
Are you asking about hitting someone with a car, or are you asking about the order of events in which you returned to the home?
The video. I'm just wanting to know when that video's from. You're saying I tried to forcibly enter. I knocked on the door, I walked around back, saw your husband, he said Ashley doesn't want to talk, and I said okay and left.
Objection.
That's what he even testified with the deputy too.
Objection, Your Honor.
Go ahead and ask a question, Mr. Riefers.
Is that what you're trying to say, is where I forcibly tried to enter the home?
No.
Okay.
As I said, you knocked on the door, and then you tried to forcefully enter my home a second time, and then you went to the back of my house with the intent to forcefully enter my home through the back.
With the intent. You know my
saw
intent?
this?
No, but I trust my husband's word because it's my husband's job to protect his family.
Objection, hearsay.
Do you know what your husband told the deputies when he was standing there?
Yes, so I was standing right next to him.
Okay. Do you remember exactly what he said?
Yes. He said he met you at the front door where you were running up to the door.
I'll sustain the objection. The jury is going to disregard what the witness's husband may have said. Go ahead, Mr.
The
Riefers.
state objects to hearsay.
What I would like to know is, starting the evening off, how many drinks did you have at lunch?
2.
2. And then how many drinks did you have in the evening after that?
At most 1.
Okay. And then how many drinks did Ashley have?
2.
And how many drinks did I have?
At least 3. At that evening alone, not including lunch.
I'm sorry?
That evening alone, not including lunch.
Okay, so we had 3 drinks in the evening?
For you, correct.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Riefers, I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. Can you move your water from that side of the podium to that side?
To this side?
I just don't want you to knock it off onto our equipment.
Onto the Elmo. I was calling that
go
one.
ahead.
I was going to get the bingo.
Okay, so when you were interviewed by Deputy Hale and then also Deputy Carter, those were the 2 deputies that came up and asked you guys questions after the incident?
I would assume so, yes.
Okay. And on Deputy Hale's video, it's between 11 minutes and 13 minutes and 38 seconds in. You had stated to him,
Phil, thank you so much. 29 months of support.
day, 2 weeks,
Follow TYO Toys on Twitter. It's
did burgers on the grill, drinking.
you will not regret it
You
very
stated,
much.
I did not drink. She drank marginally, my husband drank a little, he drank a lot. Do you recall stating that?
Yes.
Phil,
So then,
you're
which
an
is,
OG.
you told the deputies that night you didn't drink, but then you're telling us now in open court you did drink.
I told you at most I drank at most 1, allowing for any potential lapses in memory, considering that it's been almost a year. If on that night I said I did not drink, then I did not drink. Which would make sense, seeing as my husband was drinking and my daughter was in the house, and my daughter was barely a year old, which meant she was my responsibility.
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to figure everything out because the stories are just not
Objection,
consistent.
Your Honor.
Overruled.
Cat
Let's get to your question, Mr. Riefers.
Thank you, Your Honor.
OG, 20 months of support. Thank you. Allowing for any lapses in memory. I had 1 allowing for any lapses in memory.
You said you looked up in the non-emergency number,
Yes,
but you ended up just calling 911?
correct.
Okay. And then you said that I was banging on your door?
Correct.
Okay. That looked like it was knocking on the video.
Which is why I said that there was an incident that the
Objection.
video didn't catch.
Let's all take a breath. Mr. Riefers, questions? Ma'am, only answer when there is a question that is posed to you. Go ahead, Mr. Riefers.
Thank you, Your Honor. You stated that I jumped your fence, which would be if you're facing the house on the right side of the garage. Okay. That side gate there, was there?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Were there cameras over there?
No, not at the time.
Okay. Did you see me jump the fence?
I did not.
So is it possible that it's the same gate that I left out of when I first left the house? But that's when I came back in because we were all hanging out back?
No.
Out by the fire?
You left the house through my garage, not through the side gate of the house.
Okay. And you guys were present there when I left, correct?
Correct.
You watched me back out?
Correct.
Did you hear me or see me hit this other vehicle?
Both.
Both.
Yes, I heard the crunch as you hit their vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched you back into their vehicle before you put the car in drive and drove out the driveway.
And that vehicle was, which vehicle was it?
Is the neighbor's vehicle, a Jeep Wagoneer, black.
The black Jeep Wagoneer? Okay. On Deputy Hale's video, when you're interviewing him, you and Robin both state, and we'll say with you, you state, we think it's the white car. Do you remember making that statement?
I do. We initially believed it was the white car. We went over and looked, and we couldn't see any damage on the white car. And since it was white and it was dark, it would have been easier to see even with a flashlight. So we just determined and deduced at that point that the damage wasn't to the white car, it was rather to the black car. They were parked side by side.
Oh my goodness.
Did you make that determination or did the deputy make the determination?
I made that determination.
Did you guys take pictures of these vehicles?
No.
We deduced it must
And
have been on the
reason
other
I'm trying to
vehicle.
bring all that up is, again, it's not consistent with what other witnesses stated,
Objection,
even with your
Your
own
Honor.
statement.
Mr.
you said
Riefers,
fight.
don't make statements, ask questions.
Yes, Your Honor. You're stating that you stated it was a white vehicle at first, correct?
Correct.
And then now you're stating it's a black vehicle?
I am stating that as I looked that evening at both vehicles and did not see any damage on the white vehicle, at that point I assumed it was the black vehicle you had hit, which would make sense since, both vehicles shook when you hit them, or hit one of them.
You
But
hit
they were
both
right
of them.
next to each other, so,
And you saw this?
yes,
And you were present? And Ashley was with you?
yes.
Both vehicles shook.
Is it possible that you saw it, but Ashley didn't see it?
Objection.
Answer if you can. I'll overrule the objection.
It's entirely possible.
Okay. What about your husband?
It's entirely possible.
And did your husband make any statements to the deputies as well at the end that he said it wasn't like I was trying to break in, I simply walked around to the back, saw him, and said okay and left?
Objection is to what her husband is stating, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. Ask a different question, Mr. Riefers.
Yes, sir. Do you remember what your husband said to the deputy when I walked around the back and met him?
Objection.
Yeah, let's not talk about what other folks would have said other than this witness.
That's hearsay.
Where were you when I was around the back of the house?
Initially, I was in my kitchen and I saw you in the backyard, and it scared me. I remember jumping up and screaming a little bit, and my husband said to get upstairs, so I did.
And was this when you were on the 911 call?
I called them shortly after. I didn't scream on the 911 call, as you heard, but I called them on the way up the stairs.
And that's when I came into the backyard? You were still on the phone with them?
You came into the yard. I saw you in my back window. I became scared. My husband said to get upstairs, and as I was walking to my stairs, I still saw you in the backyard, and I was calling 911.
And where were you at when you saw me through that window? Were you in the kitchen?
I was in the kitchen heading to the stairs.
Were you with Ashley at that time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then you said when we were sitting down by the fire at about 7:30 in the evening, we had had a nightcap. Do you remember how many drinks that you had had then?
I believe the same as I said previously, which would have been at most one.
Would have been
At most one.
at most one that evening? Okay.
How many of your husband's drinks had you had?
Okay. And you said earlier, you stated Ashley told you when I got up and left or whatever, please don't leave me alone.
When my husband had left, she leaned over. You were still present. She said, please do not leave me alone with him.
Where were you guys at when she said that?
I was sitting right next to her in the sunroom, and my husband was in the house.
And then you did make a statement about, you said it was about sex, but we were very clear earlier, and Ashley knew that it was not about sex to begin with. So what I'm trying to understand is what did Ashley apparently tell you to make you think that? Because you didn't say anything to the deputies that night about any of this stuff.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled. Answer if you can.
At the time, what exactly you were arguing about did not seem germane to communicate to the deputies, because my concern was the fact that you were driving drunk and you had tried to forcefully enter my home. I talked with Ashley and she gave me more information later about your argument, and she made it feel as though, or she told me that she felt as though you were trying to pressure her into having sex, and it was not something that she wanted.
You kept saying that I'm drunk, but I'm trying to understand, it had 1 or 2 drinks that you observed that afternoon with lunch.
Correct.
Yeah. And then that evening, you observed 3 drinks.
I did, of at least about 2 ounces each.
And then, are you certified in any alcohol stuff to know consumption rates, dissipation rates, any of that, to be able to say intoxication based on 5 drinks?
No, just behavior and the fact that I'm a chemical engineer specialized in chemistry.
Yeah, I don't know. And we're absolutely sure that it was a black Jeep that was damaged and not the white vehicle?
Objection, Your Honor. I think we've asked and answered.
Yeah, let's cover some new ground, Mr. Riefers.
All right. And then you said when you went upstairs that you gave Ashley a firearm, or did Ashley have her own firearm?
I gave her a firearm.
So she had yours?
She had my husband's firearm, yes.
Okay. Did she also have her own?
Not to my knowledge.
Does she ever, do you know, does she ever go anywhere without a firearm?
I do not know Ashley's daily movements, no.
That she's your best friend and sorority sister? You don't know that?
I don't keep daily tabs on each one of my sorority sisters. I have a life to live.
This witness might be turning off the jurors a little bit.
What I want to clarify is you said that I hit her when I was backing up in my car, and then you said later I about hit her. So can you just describe that for me?
From where I stood, you hit her with the door of your car as you were backing out.
Can you walk me through how that happened? Where were you at?
You put the car in reverse and you hit her with the door.
Where were you?
I was standing in my garage watching you.
With Ashley that you just said was in the garage with you. That's where I'm getting confused.
I mean, I can try and lay it in the simplest terms possible. You entered your car. Ashley went out to ask you to stop and to try and take your keys because you were intoxicated and you were not in any state to drive.
Well, that's not...
Let me answer your question.
Okay, I'm the one that sets the ground rules here. Mr. Riefers, don't interrupt. Go ahead and finish.
She had tried to ask you to return your keys. We were all concerned about your ability to drive. She had opened your passenger door. She had the passenger door in this hand and was talking to you. You put the car in reverse. The passenger door hit her. She at that point stepped back and closed the passenger door and let you drive away, and at which point she joined me in the garage.
Okay, so I actually hit her with the passenger door down, not the driver's door when I was backing up?
Passenger door, yes.
Okay, but when we had that diagram pulled up, where my vehicle was parked on the right, if you just back straight up, it would kind of go into the other neighbor's driveway, correct? Because there's those bushes right there on the right side?
So, in order to get to the neighbor's driveway, you have to turn a little bit as you're backing up, but you'd have to anyway to exit the driveway because it's a Y shape.
But on the right side of the driveway where I'd parked, there's bushes on that side, correct?
There are another car width away, yes.
There's a what?
So where you were parked in my driveway, so you're parked right here, right? There's the other half of the driveway here, and then there's the transformer with the bushes.
Okay, I'm talking on the right side of your driveway where those bushes are, because that's where I backed up and brushed the shrubs, because the damage was on the back right corner of my vehicle. So how could Ashley have been in the passenger side with the door open when there's bushes there? That's what I'm getting at. This whole thing is not consistent. But you're sure, absolutely sure, you saw me hit this car?
Yes, there is space between where the bushes were and where Ashley is, and my driveway is also more than 1 car length long. So you had to actively back out as well as turn if you were going to completely exit the driveway, and at that point in which you turned into the bush and the neighbor's car, and then left my driveway.
And then when Deputy Hale first come back, he'd asked if everybody was here was okay or whatever, and kind of trying to get a feel of what was going on. Do you remember you had asked him that they had found me and what I was under arrest for?
I don't recall if I asked him or not.
Do you remember making the statement, you asked, is he under arrest for, and then you paused and then said drunk?
I'm confused as to what you're asking me.
That you didn't even know that what I was being arrested for?
No, my concern was whether or not you would be arrested or if I would have to worry about you coming back to my house later that night.
And what made you so concerned about me coming back to the house that night? Why are you trying to make it that I'm aggressive at that point? Like, I was the one that wanted to leave. Do you remember?
Yeah, just ask the question, Mr. Reefers.
Do you
Save the
remember
commentary.
sitting out back when we were having like your little table you got out back? And Ashley was sitting in front of me, and she was the one that kept grabbing my hand and pulling it around her and putting it on her leg then?
I'm sorry, are you asking me whether or not I was concerned about you returning to my house or about your behavior with Ashley
I'm
earlier
asking
that
if you
evening?
remember us all sitting there at the table, and Ashley kept looking at you saying, hey, I really like this one, grabbed my arm and brought it around her and kept putting it on her leg. You remember seeing that? You were sitting there with her.
Perhaps once or twice.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Miss Texas Tam.
Anything else for this witness?
No redirect, no. Thank
Thank you, ma'am. You can
I
step
hope you
down. You're
don't
free
know
to go.
anybody here.
Next witness?
Would be the videotape depot.
It would probably make sense to go ahead and break for lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and break for lunch now. Remember what I told you earlier today. If you do not know enough about this case to begin thinking about how it should be decided or to begin talking about the case amongst yourselves, so don't do any of those things. Also, don't do any additional research about this case. Don't drive by the incidents where these were supposed to go. And let's plan on being back here at 1:20, ready to go.
I will say this, the only thing that makes a pro se witness look really good is a really bad, or sorry, a pro se defendant look really good is a really bad well, it sort of kills it if I can't deliver the message. The only thing that makes a pro se defendant look good is a really bad witness, and that was her snark, her just, she so had to be right that she was willing to change her testimony to make sure she was still right.
We are on the record outside the presence of the jury.
That zaps your credibility.
Sir Reefers, at sidebar, you made an objection to exhibit number 27, which was the front porch footage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you want to make a record of why you were objecting to that at this point?
Your Honor, I just objected because she emailed. It was after she had already said she was ready for trial. She clearly said that she wasn't going to even use the camera. She acknowledged that in our email chain that we had going on. And then here she's using it.
All right, but you had this video prior to last week,
Not
right?
until after she had already asserted trial ready. Then she provided that.
Okay.
For the record.
Ms. Hyatt, anything?
Yes, just when he's talking about when I said I was ready for trial, that was for the July trial. And I had told him that because I had just gotten a copy of this doorbell camera, it was so close to trial, I gave him a copy of it, but I told him I was not going to be able to use it because it was just too close to trial. I figured you were most likely going to tell me no way because we were within like just a few days. So that was in July he received it, and that was when I told him I wasn't planning on using it. But he's had it since, right before trial in July, and that's been almost 2 months ago.
All right, I mean, it was provided in discovery, it was properly authenticated, I am going to overrule the objection.
Thank you.
So Exhibit 1
is...
I made a screenshot of Exhibit 1.
Okay.
So this has the drawings, like the witness's drawing on it.
Oh, okay, that's
welcome.
great.
Thank you so
which I
much.
think is probably more accurately reflects the exhibit.
Yes, that's fine with me.
Any objections from the state?
No.
Mr. Reefers, any objections?
No, Your Honor, when we submitted that, I also submitted the Google Earth photo with it that just shows the
That's different evidence.
Picture of it.
Okay, I mean, you can present the Google Earth in your side. I'm just wanting to know, is this, I believe this more accurately represents Exhibit 1. It's not in color, but it has the diagram, plus it has the witness's drawing of the diagram on it.
That's fine with me, Your Honor.
All right. You can have that. All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, see everybody back here at 1:15.
All right.
Mr. Alter,
It's
would
his
you be so
lunch.
kind as to I think the
It's
jury
his
instructions are, you can take us off the record, Mr. Lee. I think jury instructions are
It's his lunch. The officer has a huge lunch bag. All right, this is going to be a 2-day case. If you missed yesterday, we got a little pretrial sneak peek into what's happening. And in the pretrial yesterday, the officer there with the glasses on his head, which look remarkably like the ones I'm wearing, didn't come across as very likable. We didn't like him very much. Sort of like the last witness just came across. And the defendant seemed like the underdog. And a lot of us have picked the defendant. Now, I'm not saying the defendant was right. It sounds like he did some things that might have been wrong. 5 drinks is a lot to drink for anybody and drive. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. But I still think they might have overcharged this one. If he was drunk, if it was DUI, I think they would have charged him with that. They didn't. They didn't charge him with DUI, which I think they would have to do the test for. The firearms and alcohol, not a good mix. Yeah. Deb says, RA, I do miss old chase coverage. You were too busy nowadays. I'm having to find it myself. Good old LAPD for the entertainment from afar. Deb, here's my challenge. Every time I show that, especially if it becomes a popular case, like if it goes viral, we show something that just happened, and down the road some big news channel airs it. I get copyright strikes or claims from every TV channel everywhere because they also have the footage, and it is just such a pain to follow. And then if I don't get a copyright strike, YouTube will hit my channel and demonetize the stream because of the content. Usually the way chase ends at pew-pew point and get out of the blanking car is enough to demonetize the stream. So it makes it very difficult to show them. You might have to have a second channel where we just show those and just don't care. I don't know. Was he charged with trespassing? No, they were having fun. They were talking. He left. They didn't want him to leave. Then he came back, and they didn't want him back. He was in the house. They told him not to go. He left. He came back. He tried to come back in the house, and then they're acting like they didn't want him there. Like I don't think he'd ever been told that. He says he went to the back. They said, hey, don't want him here. He turned around and left. That's his story. So, yeah. Anyway, 5 drinks throughout the whole day plus a meal is not a lot. I don't know. I'm not a drinker. I just, drinks and firearms are not a good mix, even a little bit. Some people just can't take a hint. Oh, man. I want to see how this plays out. He's done better than I expected as a pro se already. We're going to be back. We're going to be back at maybe 1:15. 1:15 we'll be back and continue this trial, and it's going to take 2 days. 2 days, and now we know why, because they're going to talk about all the things that are not relevant. I'll make a portal really quickly. I'll make a portal. The glasses, do glasses hurt your nose? I mean, like they don't weigh much. They're just touching it, and I'm aware of it. Let's see. Okay, here we go. There we go. We got the new stream set up. I have to think of a thumbnail for this one. We're going to be back at 1:15. Portal's going to be set up for y'all. All right, when we come back, we're going to continue this case and see how our pro se defendant Brandon does. He's done much better than I expected, but maybe it was because the witness was terrible. So hopefully you guys can grab some lunch. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again in about 45 minutes. Portal set up, so we'll move you over to it. We'll see you right after lunchtime. You guys be good. We'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Because he's the guy.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us.
Now I'm trying to have court. You don't raise your voice again.